Runpure Sports to recap all the big winners from this past week. We'll start off with our guy Hoop, who has been on a crazy heater this past year. When he's not giving out home improvement advice on our free weekly shows, he's shipping six-figure GPP hits, including his latest $136K haul in NBA.
Congratulations, another $100,000 hit. I mean, what's going on here? But now what was it in? Football?
NBA Friday night just it's actually crazy because the NBA stuff's so much news nonstop, but I had something to do Friday night. I built the team. I said, you know what? If news hits and I can't make the right changes, I don't give a fuck. We're just rolling with it.
It was just another day in the office for the Hoopster, who was more focused on refinishing his cabinets.
Guy that does some work at our house was able to sand them down and spray them to this white color, and I prefer the white. No, you don't like the home improvement. You don't like the carpet stories.
No, I apologize to our viewers. My fault.
People like this stuff.
Chunk of our lives we're never getting
the carpet
back.
Stories. People will now probably like the cabinet stories. You brought it up.
We don't give a shit about your cabinets. My bad.
And by the way, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you head on over and hit that subscribe button. Hoop's not the only one benefiting from our great Runpure content. Shout out to RPS member Swint for not only shipping $20K in MMA last week, but also hooking up Hoop with his new Hunter Renfro jersey. Swint joined a long list of members crushing last week, including Roto Bowser, who banked $8,500 in NFL on FanDuel. C-Dub hit for over $10K on FanDuel. Woody I hit in NFL for $30K on DraftKings, and It's Uli hauled in over $72K in NBA winnings on FanDuel. These are just a few examples of the great success our members have been having lately, so join today and get access to all of our content and Discord, where our great members and hosts talk shop throughout the day about their favorite DFS plays. We've recently teamed with SaberSim to give you a great deal on a combo subscription that will give you access to all of our content, as well as their optimizer and projection system for a low price, saving you nearly $50 a month. So head on over to runpuresports.com, sign up today, and let's run pure.
What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, aka ToeTagginTambo, back for another Week 16 edition of the Off the Chalk Show here at Runpure Sports. You're just filing in. We appreciate you. We know it was Christmas, very busy holiday weekend for most. Probably getting your coffee, maybe a little bit of Bailey's or something nice in there, a little bit of liqueur cream in there. I don't know, but you'll join us here. Hit the like button on the way in. We still got the full slate ready to be covered. I got my two boys, AP and JT Hayes. And AP, I'm going to start with you, man. How you doing today, and how was your Christmas?
It was good, man. Christmas was good. So we go hard on the 24th. We hosted, had a bunch of people over, lots of drinks, food, a really good time. Christmas Day is much more chilled. Always a lot of work with the NBA slate. And then, like, our tradition every year is, and it's no questions asked, and I don't know what it is going into it, but we go to a movie, like to a theater, as a family. Wife picks it out and everything, and I just, I go along with it. And so yesterday we get there, West Side Story, 3-hour-long movie. It just was crazy. Oh man, I'm sitting there checking the phone, keeping an eye on NBA, and but no, it was a good time. Spent a lot of time with family, had a lot of fun. Kids got a lot of presents, and on to continue the grind today with you guys.
Absolutely. We're still back here at it. Like you said, it's a tough day. You're out there with family, doing everything you possibly can, grinding the slates as well. We had a 2-gamer in NFL, Showdown slate, NBA, of course, 5-gamer throughout the day, both sites. Our main man, Big T, back to the shippers, Mr. 150K stacks, I'm calling him. We like the monikers, and he's taking that one away from me. Another 150K plus day for him. And then all the members that took things down, 25K to plenty of them, especially our boy D-Rock. Love to see that at the Christmas time, $45 in, 25K out. We talk about members never win. They most certainly do here at Runpure Sports. JT Hayes, bring you in, man. How's your day? How you feeling right now? And how was your Christmas?
Yeah, merry belated Christmas to everybody out there. Good day. Good to see all the winners. I'm a little chippy. I was a 1v1 off of the NFL Millie. If I put in Chubb over Jonathan Taylor, I had the exact same build. So that was hurtful, but we're back at it on an NFL Sunday.
Yeah, grinding the 1v1s and 2v2s. It's what we do. I just said that to producer Simon before I came on. I was very close, very similar spot as you in that one yesterday. Still a decent day all around, a few chances here and there, but that's why we're back. Big NFL Sunday still, right? Lots of great tournaments out there, plenty of big prizes. I'm excited for this slate, and we'll go through how we're going to break it down. My man AP, he started it off, and he made a good point. We should probably start at running back again this week because there's just a lot going on there. There's a lot of chalk we want to talk through. We'll do running back, and then we'll flip back to quarterback. So if you're just joining us, even Mangone up bright and early. Look at this, picking winners. So let's go.
That's
AP,
impressive because he's Colorado time. He traveled, right? So
He's in Florida. He's in Florida.
Yeah, not as impressive. Not as impressive, Mangone.
Back on the East Coast.
Not as impressive.
Joining us. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
We love
Merry
Mangone.
Christmas,
We love to see
Mangone.
it.
Merry Christmas.
The chat loves it too. Merry Christmas for sure, Mangone. Happy to see you here. Everybody else, appreciate you guys joining us. It's a bright, bushy-eyed, what is that? Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed Sunday morning. That's what I'm feeling right now. Anyway, it's a long one, but we'll get through it. So AP, I'm going to start with you. You like the running back position to talk about first. We've got some guys here. So obviously James Robinson is going to be a talking point, 5.9K on DraftKings. I should note real quick, this is where the pricing in the sites, the difference comes in. We don't talk about it a lot on this show, but much more expensive over on FanDuel. When I'm running out the optimizer, have a lot harder time seeing them fit into all the builds versus on DraftKings. They just want to jam them in completely. No Carlos Hyde, obviously him hitting the IR. So the door is wide open for James Robinson, looking to be around 35 to maybe even as high as 45%, 50% in some of the higher dollar, smaller field stuff. And then after that, you got Justin Jackson with Eckler out, Ronald Jones with Fournette out, and then goes down from there with Madison, Montgomery, and some other guys slide in. Talk to me first about the guys at the top that are the chalk this week.
Yeah, I'm showing James Robinson, Justin Jackson, Ronald Jones, Madison, all in extremely good spots. The chalk I really want to eat. Justin Jackson, 4-2 with no Austin Eckler in a script where they're projected to be favored, and they're just going to lean on him. He's looked explosive. He could get vultured by Josh Kelly a little bit, but you do have to think the workload is going to be there. Phenomenal matchup against the Texans. He's a guy that's very tough to fade, in my opinion, even in tournaments, because of what it's going to allow you to do with your rosters. You're going to be able to spend up at receiver, going to be able to get, Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson, who are in elite spots as well. The other guy, Alexander Madison, we've seen what this guy has done each and every time he's in the spot when Cook's out. And he almost looks like Dalvin Cook out there. Maybe not as explosive because Dalvin Cook is just a beast, but really, really close. I mean, this guy is very skilled, can catch the ball out of the backfield. And we've seen the Rams, they haven't been as good against the run. They're focused on that pass rush, and they kind of just, it seems like they forget about the run at times. So another really good spot. And then James Robinson, I mean, we know their coach loves to lean on the run. We know 20 touches is possible, counting targets. And, we know the matchup is very elite against the Jets. So another good spot in the price. Like you mentioned, Tambo, before we got on, bunch of mispricing. And that's going to happen with COVID and everything going on. See it in the NBA streets. You have to adjust, and you have to just be willing to eat some of this chalk. We saw it yesterday in the NBA. I mean, man, a lot of the chalk hit, and we saw Runpure Sports guys, BigT also, JSU, phenomenal course. And they're tournament guys, but they, do a good job at understanding when to eat the chalk. And so today, it's the NFL. It's a very, high variance sport, 1 game sample size. But man, I'm hard to think of ways these 3 running backs bust. I could see 1 or 2 of them maybe, but if you include Ronald Jones in there, and he's the guy I think I'm going to be a little bit under on. But I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say. But as far as eating the chalk goes, Justin Jackson, I would say number 1 for me, followed by Madison and then Robinson. And then Jones is the guy I want to be underweight on or fade.
Yeah, I like a lot of the things you said there. I think that's sort of where everyone's trying to decipher it. I already see it in the chat. Some people bring it up. Love the call. The Rojo Mojo was a good one there that was brought up. I'll see if JT Hayes has the same feeling about that. But some of the thoughts that these guys at the top, JT Hayes, and then also just curious, like if one was to get spelled, who you think it might be. Obviously, I think if you look at Justin Jackson has Joshua Kelly there at the ownership, he's pushing versus what Kelly is at. That's the one I kind of lean towards, but I know I forget the guy's last name with Minnesota there where Madison's at. Obviously, Madison looks very good, getting lots of opportunities when he comes out to play in these spots with no Dalvin Cook, but his backup was getting some work as well in the past couple games. And then Ronald Jones is Keyshawn Vaughn in the passing game, if you could see something like that happening. So talk to me about these guys here at the top, and then we'll get into some of the ones off the chalk that we're going with for this week 16.
Yeah, I can find issue with all of them. The good thing about this week versus last week is we do have some pivots. Last week, running back, really tough position, which is why you kind of ended up saying, I think I have to play James Robinson. Robinson is probably the guy that I think, I don't know, because they're not a very good team, right? Jacksonville's not a very good team. So that's problematic there. But he is kind of the last man standing there. I have no Rojo Mojo. The biggest threat to Roland Jones is Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. Tambo, when we did our Thursday night show on the Mayo Media Network, you talked about this is Tom Brady off a loss. This is Tom Brady with Antonio Brown back and Gronkowski as kind of the last two guys, but his two favorite guys in the passing game, and they don't trust Roland Jones. They don't trust him at all. That's why they went out and they got Leonard Fournette, and took a little while, but Leonard Fournette took way over to the point where Roland Jones wasn't even seeing the field. I think Justin Jackson's price point is fine at 4.2K. I do think where you see, okay, Eckler's out, but you also have to remember that Mike Williams is out, and I think it's a spot where you could see them just decide to go very, very pass heavy until they're up. And then if they get up in that game and they're trying to run out the clock in the late third and fourth quarter, is it going to be Justin Jackson or is it going to be Joshua Kelly? I think they may actually have another running back somewhere on their roster. So there's a little bit of risk there. And then the guy that I'm really torn on is Madison, because his three big games this season, 2 against the Detroit Lions and 1 against the Seahawks. Yes, they were also the same games in which he started for Cook, but much different matchup against the Rams. I expect the Vikings to be trailing throughout this game. That's my expectation of this game, which means I don't know that Madison is going to be the focal point of the Minnesota Vikings offense. I think it's going to be Kirk Cousins. And I think an interesting way to stack that game is to flip it, go Cousins with his pass catchers, and the bring back, of course, being Cooper Kupp and one of his other guys.
Yeah, you're speaking my language there. We'll get to quarterback. We talk about that. I did mention that as well on our show on Thursday, just because I thought, how can we get different with it? Stafford did pick up some popularity as the week went on. He was starting the week where people were going to go a little bit of a different route. It looked like, or just play Kupp. And now people are stacking it up that way. I think you can definitely go with the pass game on the other side. Madison does worry me a little bit anyway, but the matchup kind of got a little bit better. I know that the Rams are without their starting left tackle. That can make for the game to stay a little bit closer. And I think for Madison to have a big day, the game has to stay close. I don't see it being as strong with him being down. And Felix posted in the chat all the incentives for Antonio Brown. We'll get to pissed off Brady coming off the 9-0 loss when we get to quarterback. James Robinson is the more interesting one to me. I think there's a possibility here. Again, just a leverage look of the week, but it could be Jacksonville James week. But it might be a different James, and that's James O'Shaughnessy when we get to tight end, who could have a pretty big matchup. It was just a few weeks back when I was at King of the Beach where it was the Jets and everyone was on Minshew mania, and not many picked up that you could play Goddard that week and just went off at the tight end position against this Jets defense. So could be a different James from the Jacksonville squad that you're looking at doing the damage this week. And there's some other guys that you can run in a secondary stack with them. They mentioned in the chat, yeah, you talked about a JT Hayes. Roundtree, I believe, is the other guy there in behind. That just, for Jackson makes it so it could be him that gets spelled for Kelly. There's a possibility. I think a Roundtree would be a little bit too cute, but could be why you see a guy like Justin Jackson not come through. I'm definitely playing Jackson in my main lineup at 4.2K. Eckler out, Williams out, Guyton out. There's still going to be a potential there for just too many opportunities to leave on the table. Now, AP, I'm going to flip it back to you in just a second, but I want to talk about this part because you look at what they're talking about in the chat, and I agree with most of it. And JT, they're giving you shit for Roland Jones too, by the way. May as well call him Roland James if you're just going to go completely off the rails. Give us some likes for that, people. We've got to get up to 100 likes right quick here. We're always looking for that quick 100. We'll let you come back to it. But I want to talk about one thing, AP, and that's the roster construction. I think, like JT Hayes, the best point he made was when you look at this position today, there is other options. We didn't really have that, or at least we didn't feel like it last week. So you can go a completely different construction. There's guys you can pay up for. There's mid-tier guys that are going completely overlooked. And on top of that, we do have cheap guys at other positions. We have cheap tight ends or expensive ones. We have that are actually playable. Obviously, we have prices at that every week. But I'm saying, like, you have a Josh Johnson at quarterback and just pay up everywhere. For example, you have all these situations. So APAs, what do you think about some of these, or AP Hayes now, AP, what do you think about some of these other guys at running back and roster construction in general this week?
Yeah, so very good point on roster construction. I do think 3 running back is going to be somewhat popular given the chalk that we have. If I decide to go with 3 running backs, I think what I'm going to want to do is make sure I have one of like a Cordell Patterson, a Joe Mixon, or a Clyde Edwards-Helaire mix in there. So let me start with Joe Mixon. Like traditionally, just look at this. They're at home. They're favored by a touchdown, projected to score 3 touchdowns, 24 point team in total, implied total. Very favorable script. And Joe Mixon, he's 6.9K at DraftKings. And we've seen him get volume when the game script is in his favor. So I think he could absolutely carve up the Ravens. I think you're going to get him at sub 8%, sub 10% for sure. And he's a guy that can break the slate and can be a difference maker at that running back position. The next guy is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It looks like Derek Gore. He didn't see any snaps this last game against the Chargers, I do not believe. It was a bunch of him and Darrell Williams. And another favorable script. And we've seen, I do think Clyde is far more riskier, tournament only, but he's 5'8". We see it like when it's not a Mahomes day, it's usually a Clyde Edwards day. And so he's going to be a guy that I look at and I want to pair with the Chiefs defense, which I really like today against Big Ben and the Steelers. And then, Cordell Patterson. I mean, the Lions, I mean, the Falcons should just destroy them today. They should absolutely just be able to do whatever they want. And Cordell Patterson is another guy who has shown the ability to break the slate, and no one likes to play him. I mean, he put up a 34-piece against Washington football team earlier this year. We know he is the man in their offense, and we know the volume should be there today. So those are 3 off-the-chalk running backs that I really like, that I would want to cycle in with some of the chalk that I'm going to eat.
Yeah, and I'll name 2 more because you named some of the ones I like, and we'll definitely flip it to JT Hayes to come back from the Roland Jones comment, as well as talk about his boy Cordy Patterson. The chat's already talking about the Pro Bowl snub. You and I talked about that the other night. I think it's definitely possible. I like his spot here. I loved everything AP said. Mixon is very cheap for what how they utilize him, and people are wanting to play that Cincinnati game. He's also a perfect spot to put in there if you do go with Josh Johnson, be able to put him in there on the other side of that game to have that big play that sets Johnson off to be able to actually get to something at the 4K salary. So I think that's interesting. And then the other couple I had were Miles Sanders with the Philly D even. I think Miles Sanders had himself a couple good games now and just came out after saying, look, I'll just do whatever it takes to help this team. Very humble guy. Came out, obviously he wants the rock more, and there's other guys there, but at the same time, this is the week where not as many people are on him. And then Michael Carter, one thing about that Jacksonville game, he's the opposite running back on that side, but Michael Carter, James Robinson, that same game, when we get a game that's that ugly, which we'll probably talk about when we get to defenses later, both of them, DraftKings tested us, put them both at 2,700 for both the Jets and the Jags against the Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence turnover-prone quarterbacks, where you can kind of just pick your poison. But I also think that could make for a game where these two finally go off against each other. Both teams pretty bad, but a lot of opportunity. You could see some upside here. It is hard to stack it up with the value that you've got and other pieces you can play elsewhere where it's hard just to stack that game up and have all the money left over. But I do think Michael Carter's an option as well. JT Hayes, go ahead. Talk to us about these other running back plays.
Yeah, I mean, you guys mentioned Cordy Patterson, that game last week. It looked like it was off to a good start, and then they couldn't get in the box on that first drive and went sideways from there. He was close to a decent day, and if they score there on that first drive, then this game has a chance to become more of a back and forth, which it didn't do. But against these lesser teams, talked about how he put up 30 against Washington, he even had a good game against Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay, and now home against the Detroit Lions. He's been the center of that offense. He is, whether he's getting touches out of the backfield or receiving targets as a guy over the middle. I think Peterson is an easy pivot today from some of this chalk. One guy you guys didn't mention, Denver Broncos still have an outside chance potentially at the postseason. Melvin Gordon's been banged up, and now they get a matchup in the Dome against the Las Vegas Raiders, who've been really bad, particularly last 6 weeks against the rush. And Javonte Williams is sitting there just a little bit above that James Robinson price point. So I like him quite a bit today. And then, Tambo, you mentioned Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders may be a little bit injured, but the last 4 games, Philadelphia Eagles have rushed for 175 yards or more. They get a very soft matchup against the New York Giants today. You have to believe that it's going to be a good opportunity for Sanders. And then if he's limited at all, even Jordan Howard got, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 yards last week. At his price point, he gets that same 60 yards and he gets a touchdown. And now you're cooking, and I think he can easily outmatch at least Ronald Jones. Thank you, Chad. I was confusing him with Ronald's cousin, Roland, for those of you who might not know.
Who you know personally, of course.
I do.
And his parents as well, as we all know. Yes, of course. Yeah, I like those calls. We didn't talk a couple others. I mean, Montgomery, Najee Harris, there's a couple others out there, but that just goes to show how deep the running back position is. Loved AP's call. I didn't talk about it enough, but the CEH paired with the KCD especially, Big Ben looks like he wants to retire after each drive. You're not sure if he's going to head back to the bench or back to the locker room and be done with it. It just looks like he's ready to pack it in. He's been horrible. So I think that's definitely a good opportunity there. Jordan Howard, like you said, if you see any news on Sanders, or even if you just have a feeling he can bang in a couple touchdowns, I think I'd like him more on FanDuel, and just hope that, even if Sanders does the work, he can quickly outmatch him without the bonuses and the full PPR and all that. And you can just have Howard bang a couple in, pair him up with the Philly D even, and have them do work against Jake Fromm in his first start. So a good segue. We can go to quarterback. AP, if you've got anything else to add at the running back position, go ahead. If not, I'd like to talk about quarterback. I'm seeing right now ownership a little bit different out there across sites, but it looks the obvious are Herbert and Stafford. I know Jalen Hurts is up there getting some talk as well. And then you've got Mahomes, Burrow kind of filing in after that. So if anything else to the running back, go ahead. If not, take us into quarterback.
Yeah, my only other last comment at running back, the Clyde Edwards take, I think it holds a little bit more weight on FanDuel, where the value of a touchdown is a little bit greater. I think from a volume standpoint, there's a lot of risk with him, but as far as touchdown equity goes, the opportunities are going to be there. I think he's going to be around the goal line, and it's crazy, but he's been very good at finding the end zone when they get there. So definitely like him on FanDuel. There's a good probability that he'll be in my FanDuel core today. Quarterback, yeah, we were talking before the show, and I was telling you guys I'm a little bit lost at quarterback. But the good thing about quarterback is we can always just default to correlating it with our primary stack, and you're going to be in a plus EV situation. Justin Herbert and Chargers onslaught stacks is kind of where my mind first went. And, Tambo, you said you're really high on that. So I'm already made a note right here. I always like to make notes from this show and from the next show. And then when I dial in my builds, to make sure I don't miss anything from your guys' takes. So absolutely love that. I think it's going to be a fairly popular stack, but it's just, it feels very safe. Like Justin Herbert, you have to think that there's a good chance he gets 3 touchdowns here, 300 yards, another possibility as well, just against this Houston team. Absolutely like that. Jalen Hurts, I want to be under. I don't know what you guys think, but he had 2 QB sneaks for touch. I faded him. I went all in on Stafford last Tuesday and on that slate, and it killed me. Those little 1-yard sneaks for touchdowns absolutely wrecked my Stafford builds, and it is what it is. So obviously Hurts could get it done here. I just find myself wanting to be underweight on him. I think Patrick Mahomes is in a very interesting spot. If it's not going to be Clyde Edwards, it's definitely going to be Mahomes to Tyreek Hill, who is active. We're still waiting on Kelsey. And if Kelsey isn't there, it just means more targets for Tyreek Hill. And I think he would become probably the best receiving option. And there's so much value there where you can easily pair him with the Patrick Mahomes. I really like that route. And then we talked about these cheaper 4K guys. I definitely want to have some interest in those guys. I'm going to let one of you guys touch on them. But as far as like eating some chalk at quarterback, I do think ownership will spread out. It does look like Hurts is going to be the most popular guy. I wasn't too high on him, but I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say. I know I'm going to be fading and sweating out the rushing touchdown upside that he has. I just want to be under on that game. I feel like it's just going to be a nasty, low-scoring game. And the other thing I want your guys' thoughts on too, and we were talking about it last night, me and Snyder, this quick turnaround. They played on Tuesday. We've seen these games, these Thursday games from Sunday to Thursday, just be absolutely, dog shit. I really want your guys' take on some of these teams that played Tuesday now have to turn around and play Sunday. So, but as far as quarterback goes, Herbert, Mahomes are kind of the lead guys for me, and then I really want to filter in some of these cheaper guys as well.
Yeah, to be honest, when I looked at it this morning, and I was on top of this slate throughout the week, but just to see Hurts up there kind of baffled me. Like he ran in those touchdowns. There is all those options. That's why I immediately talked about those guys at running back. Glad JT Hayes brought up as well, because I just think that's good natural leverage, especially if he's going to be popular. I know what he's capable of, what he can do, but I feel like it's a lot of just, what have you done for me lately? And they just saw it. This, it's a quick turnaround, like you said, and now he comes out and has this. There's lots of guys down the board that I think you could play. I'll get to mine in a second here. Guys, not even at 100 likes yet, almost 400 watching. If you can do us a favor, we do appreciate it. Just hit the like button, take 2 seconds. Like I always say, just go click it. We'll be good to roll from here on out. Don't got to keep asking for them. Makes everything easier and gets the likes up for the morning wood. Big T coming on off the 150K shipper, Mr. 150K Stacks, as he liked to call me. I'm flipping the moniker. As I said, JT Hayes, let's talk about quarterback here, man. These guys at the top, and then go through some of the other guys you might like for the slate.
I think for me at the top range, Herbert, Stafford, and then Kirk Cousins a little bit cheaper there. Guys I like. Talked about the reasoning with Cousins and with Herbert. Of course, Stafford, just a tremendous spot. One interesting note on Kirk Cousins and the Los Angeles Rams secondary. Last 4 games on the road, they've allowed more than 175 fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. So I think people see the Rams and they think, oh man, they got a good defense. They've been a lot less good on the road than they have been at home in SoFi Stadium. Talk about Jalen Hurts. There's a tendency here. I believe what you guys believe in terms of Hurts, right? I'm not on him this week. It is the second divisional matchup between the Eagles and the Giants. The Eagles want to run the ball, which takes a lot of the throwing equity out of Hurts. And then AP, you mentioned it, right? When these teams come back on 4 or 5 days rest, they're a lot less likely to lean on that lead rusher. And that's what Jalen Hurts is. That's why I think you could see Jordan Howard get some more touches here in this game as well. So I'm going to be off of Hurts. The wrench that was thrown into this slate between Friday and yesterday, 2 wrenches. One, former Super Bowl champion Nick Foles going to start for the dysfunctional Chicago Bears because of injuries to Justin Fields and Andy Dalton. And then Josh Johnson is going to start for the Ravens for Tyler Huntley. Johnson, I think this is the same kid who went nuts as the 3rd string quarterback for the Jets when there were injuries in a Thursday night game earlier this season against the Colts. So what those guys allow you to do is to get off the chalk at running back completely, which is going to be massive, massive ownership between Robinson, Justin Jackson, Jones, and even Madison. And it allows you to get to those pivots. It allows you to pay up to the best wide receivers on the slate. You could probably fill out a lineup with one of those guys with Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and Keenan Allen, and very interesting spot there. So it comes down to roster construction. You can probably get up to the Eagles defense as well. The one nagging thing about Hurts is I don't want to underestimate how awful this Giants coaching staff is, and how, as we said a couple of weeks ago here, that what do we expect the Giants to do? I expect them to show up completely fucking unprepared to play an NFL football game. Does that mean that they show up completely unprepared to defense the rushing threat that is Jalen Hurts? It's entirely likely.
Yeah. I think, like you said, a couple things. One there, especially with the roster construction factor. When you and I had talked on Thursday, it's like, oh, let's just take all these guys. We could pay off, get the best quarterbacks, make it all work. We have all the value. But then I think what ends up happening is you start to see that these lineups look a lot alike, right? There's a lot of the same running backs going into it. We gave you some pivots there. That's why we talked about it first. And then you could start to stack around it. When you look at some of the cheaper options, you brought them up. If they just get 20 or something like that. And we did just get big news. So speaking of Mahomes, Kelsey's going to be out. So, the Tyreek factor we talked about earlier, it's going to be him. I believe, I can't remember if Blake Bell's in, if it's going to be Noah Gray.
You know who's going to be a really nice, sneaky benefactor of that? Darrell Williams. They love using him out as kind of a safety valve receiver. You're going to see a lot of Darrell Williams out there playing receiver today. So he's the backup running back.
Yeah, don't be afraid to put him into your stacks. I think that's one thing that people don't do enough of. Like in your Herbert stacks, everyone's going to have Keenan Allen, Palmer, and Cook. I think you could put Jackson into them, for example. He can catch some passes, make it work that way. You can go with this stack. You just talked about, you could have CEH and Williams. Williams catches more passes, but you would separate them with a rule of at most one. So even if you've got it, and then you could just compare your lineups and see how they look, right? And go with the ones that you like more. So
he's such a good Millie play. Like, don't play him like he's a Millie play. Like, he could absolutely bust, but they do love using him out as a receiver, and he's been very good in that position this year.
Yeah, and someone talked about it earlier in the chat too. I like him. It's a good pivot spot from some of the other guys that we talked about there that are the chalk. So that really makes it that much more. And that's one of the ones where people waking up day after Christmas, not wanting to change much or dig in or dive or even think to that next level. That's why you guys are here watching the show. So almost at 150 likes now. We want to see what we can do here. Let's get to 200 and then let's go from there. We'll aim for 250 today. I know it's the day after Christmas. 250 I'd be happy with and appreciate. So JT Hayes, I'm going to talk a few more things, then I'll let you talk about some more at quarterback. But just real quick, I was saying some of the cheaper guys, like, so I mentioned Josh Johnson. You stack them up with one guy, put them with Andrews and run it back. You can use Higgins or Chase, or you can use Mixon. I think Mixon's a good play at 6.9 because he's completely different. You already have a cheap quarterback instead of a cheap running back. So you're flipping the construction. You're not going with the same chalk. And if a guy like Mixon has one of those big plays, it can turn the game, open it up early, turn the game around and open up things early so that we get a bit more of a back and forth. So I do like something like that. Just down there as well. I mentioned this last week. I'm going to coin a new phrase today. Everyone knows the saying dead or alive. I talked about Trevor Lawrence last week and everyone hated it and you don't need to go there and all that. And it didn't work out. But I'm going to go back there again. I talked about this game being a little bit ugly. Sometimes the two ugly teams, we see it all the time. Me and JSU, Big T doing a Thursday night show. And JSU says this game sucks. It's ugly. And it's true. But then we see like 50 points up on the board. And the new phrase that I want to coin is dead or you're live in DFS, because it's one of those things where if you can play Trevor Lawrence, lineups might be dead. You don't need to go there. It could be considered too cute. But if you do go there and it hits, there's a potential. Someone actually even said it in the chat earlier, Trevor Lawrence Millie week. There's a potential for a guy like Foles or Lawrence or Johnson. That's why I'm talking about these cheap guys to get you to the top of the Millie where you've actually got a shot. And just guess what? They're cheap. So the guys that you're probably counting on for your late afternoon sweat to try and win the Millie would be really good players that you're just hoping that they continue to have a good night. Look, Big T last night, I was following the sweat for a bit there. I know his last guy going was Donovan Mitchell. It feels pretty nice at the end of an NBA slate on a long Christmas day when you're waiting on your last guy and it's not Sterling Brown or someone that you have to hope on. And instead it's Donovan Mitchell in a close game down the wire. It's a pretty good spot to be in. I think that's where these cheap quarterbacks can put you, and not enough people talk about it from that reason. So not dead or alive, dead or you're live for a lot of money, maybe $1 million on this 26th of December. JT Hayes, thoughts on that? And then other guys you want to talk about here.
I played a little Trevor Lawrence last week. He just looked so terrible. He was overthrowing receivers by, the balls were 15 feet in the air. Things weren't very close. And you'd say, okay, well, the Jets are terrible. The Jets are terrible. He went into Seattle where Seattle's terrible and he got intercepted, 2 or 3 times. I'm not interested in the Jets defense, but I don't know if I can play Trevor Lawrence. That team seems like it's a disaster. People in chat talking about the Giants going to bring back Joe Judge and Daniel Jones. That's what the Giants do. They are loyal to their people. They give people maybe too many chances, you might think. And I think that's the case here because I don't know. I haven't seen anything out of Joe Judge that suggests that he's capable of being an NFL coach. So sorry, New York Giants fans.
And what about the Tom Brady, the pissed off TB12? We got the 9-0 loss. He looked pretty bad, but different spot here, obviously. Any thoughts on him, JT?
Yeah, a lot more confidence in Tom Brady returning to form than I do in Trevor Lawrence putting up a big game. So I just think his price point for what that game could be. I mean, there's another wrench. We were talking about this before we came on as well. Sam Darnold's going to play today. So now does that mean that Cam Newton's going to start? Does it mean that PJ Walker is still going to get reps? You've got DJ Moore that's priced pretty much all the way down there. And it's like, I don't know what to expect from that game, which is, I think, creates an opportunity if you're willing to take the risk and say, all right, maybe this is going to shoot out. And then you go with Brady, Brown, Gronk, you can run it back with DJ Moore and assume that the running games aren't going to be a factor. And then you can look at the other running backs to fill out your lineups. I think that's a little bit interesting. I expect the Brady bounce back. I just don't know if he's going to be the top scorer on the slate. But what we've seen is when he's done poorly, he usually gets to that 30 piece the next week. So certainly think that's in play.
The bigger question, I agree with everything you said. The bigger question is if that 30 piece matters. If he so he has to first off get to 30, and then does it matter based on what we just talked about, having some of these cheaper guys get to 20, 25, and then you're already there and you could stack up things elsewhere and have a different roster construction. So I think that definitely makes sense. And then it's a good segue to the chalk at wide receiver, and AP, I'll let you go in a second here with some other stuff, but the Antonio Brown, the incentives, the narratives. One thing I will say about this is that we saw it a bunch when Brady was having these big games for us on these daily fantasy slates. It was him, Fournette, and Gronk kind of just eating up the end zone. And if that's sort of all the work that you're getting in there. So you could have a Brady, Jones, Gronk, leave AB out of it and forget all the incentive talk, because I don't think that's the reason you're playing him today. He's $4,900. No Godwin, no Evans, lots of opportunity, no Fournette for that matter. Why we talked about Jones, but AP, do you want to talk about your Sam Darnold love on air before we move to wide receiver, or was that just the private chat that we were talking about that before the show?
Yeah, that's too embarrassing to talk about. No, I mean, honestly, we'd need to know, like JT Hayes brings up a good point. If he was starting and we knew he was going to be the guy throughout, I think you can make the case because of the Bucs defense. Like their defense had many key pieces out. Many guys who didn't practice all week. Sue, Levante David, their stud safety, he's out. So I mean, this Bucs defense is missing a ton of pieces, and if we could get any viable quarterback in there, which I do think Sam Darnold would be that guy who can throw the ball. I love the idea of playing DJ Moore, maybe a little Robbie Anderson, but definitely DJ Moore in there. But if Cam Newton's in there, I don't trust it. So very difficult situation. We need a little bit more news, but he's 4K against a defense that honestly, like, they should be able to move the ball against today. So I do think it's somewhat of an interesting spot, Millie Maker type situation.
Yeah, and I like one thing you brought up there. Even if you don't want to go there, I think the DJ Moore play is great anyway. I know we're going to get to off the chalk, but he can be used in the secondary stacks, right? If you want to go with Ronald Jones and be different with Ronald Jones, put him across from DJ Moore. If you want, we saw it last week. It was James Robinson across from Brandon Cooks in that game. That secondary stack was on all the winning lineups across pretty much every tournament, right up to and to including the $20 Millie Maker. So it's the same thing here this week. You could do that. You could also skip over the Jones chalk. Like you said it earlier, AP, don't really love it. And I agree with you. And you can go to AB with DJ Moore and just use your secondary stack at the wide receiver position and stack up elsewhere, get different at running back, have yourself some pretty nice lineups that way as well. So AP, I'll flip it back to you. This is going to be a bigger talking piece as well, obviously, but wide receiver, we got the high price chalk wide receiver, Cooper Kupp, 9,100. Of course, there's an argument to be made here. Should he be 10K with what this guy's been doing? Is it too cheap at 9,100 for the volume that he gets? But pushing 40% here, man. It's pretty clear where the chalk is going to be at this week. I think there's definitely ways you can change it up and be different while still using him. But I want to hear your thoughts on Cooper Kupp for sure. And then we've got AB, Palmer's cheap chalk, Keenan Allen with obviously no Eckler, no Williams, no Guyton. Same thing there as the Palmer conversation. And then some of the other guys picking up steam after the fact are a little bit cheaper, and we'll get to them. But talk to me definitely about Cooper Kupp at the highest price wide receiver at the highest ownership. Usually doesn't work out too well, but let me get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, and what a smash matchup here. They're going against the Vikings, who allow the most fantasy points to receivers, opposing receivers, and you have the best receiver in the league this year by far. He's just been extremely smart, knows how to get open, and knows how to get yards after the catch. So Cooper Kupp, 9.1. I do think this Kelce news impacts ownership. Either what's going to happen is we see Tyreek Hill's ownership go up, and it could be at the expense of maybe bringing Cooper Kupp's ownership down a little bit. But I mean, we got three guys that are just way up there in price and all in very good spots in Kupp, Jefferson, and Tyreek Hill. You can't play them all. All are phenomenal plays. Like it's going to be really, really interesting from a roster construction standpoint. I will say, gosh, I'm going to just absolutely pound Tyreek Hill in this spot. I think he's going to get all the targets. They're going to have to utilize him. I think Kelce's so good at just exposing those zones and finding space. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to have that. I think they're going to have to get creative with Byron Pringle, with Darrell Williams. And the other guy that they were trying to get more involved is Josh Gordon. I don't know if this was against the Raiders. They were also up by like 40 points, so it might be more of a function of that. But they don't trust DeMarcus Robinson. And McCole Hardman he's not been panning out to be the guy that they wanted him to be. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a Tyreek Hill, 12-plus target type day. We've seen a high of 18 targets on the season. We've seen multiple 12-plus target games. Or the other thing too is they just lean on the run. But I do think they're going to get him involved early and often. And then this game, Cooper Kupp. I'm tired of fading this guy. He's just an absolute machine, going after records too. One of the best matchups, and we have plenty of value to make it work. I have a ton of interest in him. And then, we can keep going. Like, there's so many good receiver plays. Keenan Allen would be up there. Another guy, and just, the volume, the catches are going to be there without big Mike Williams, without Austin Eckler. He's just going to be absolutely peppered today. And then we got Antonio Brown, obviously, another key piece. So many good receiver plays. I love all the chalk here, and it's going to be interesting when we talk about how to get off the chalk, because it feels like it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, there's definitely some good points you made there. I think, like you said, the Cooper Kupp thing is just crazy that it just continuously goes off. And the thing is that when he catches the ball, he actually does stuff with it. We joked, a couple weeks ago, obviously, about the Renfro situation where he just catches, falls. I could see that for a guy like Keenan Allen today. If you sort of rack up 15 targets, bunch of catches for 10 yards, and that'll add up. And I think that's a good way to go about it and save some money. But the thing, JT Hayes, I'll flip it to you. Cooper Kupp, 9,100, needs quite a few points that he's got to put up. And then on top of that, you need to be unique elsewhere, have your lineup set up differently. I think your way, you talked about it earlier, is the way I like, is going the Kirk Cousins route. Maybe that's the best way. But we've seen in the past where guys like him, Devontae Adams, some of these big names put up 40 points, and they still don't show up on something like the $20 Millie Maker winner, because there's just other paths that get there, or cheaper guys that get 25, or situational stuff like that. So what are your thoughts here with Cooper Kupp to start? And then talk to me about the cheaper guys, the Palmer and the Antonio Brown, 4,900 and 3,300 for those two guys.
Yeah, I think the thing with Kupp is we keep waiting for this guy to flop, and he just hasn't this season. He's now in one of the highest total on the slate. Game is in a dome. He's got just playing in the best offense, I think, that's on the slate today. You could argue Kansas City has been right there with them for at least the early part of the season. So, 9,100, he's been hitting that price. He's been getting to almost 4x his salary the whole season long. And like AP said early on in the season, I'm like, I can't play this guy at 35, 40, 50% ownership in some of the higher dollar contests. And then if you don't play him, you're just dead. You're just dead, because it's that hard to come back from that type of ownership. At least Devontae Adams will have a down game and let someone else catch the ball, or someone else do all the work, or they'll have a game where they don't score 30 points. Hasn't been the case with the Rams. The Rams now, you have Michelle with Darrell Henderson, who's there. They activated Cam Akers. So the running back room is kind of crowded at the moment. So, they're fully healthy. But I think that passing attack is going to have a really good game here against the Vikings. So it makes it tough. You do have Keenan Allen, who I think if I had to rank them just because of the situation with the Chargers, I'm going to prioritize Allen more so than Kupp, but I still want Kupp in those lineups. Then you get down Justin Jefferson, and you've got Adam Thielen coming back. He's expected to play. Thielen's price down a little bit on DraftKings. And then you have the Cincinnati Bengals receivers who are in a very good spot over the course of the last 6 weeks. The Ravens yielding the most amount of points to opposing wide receivers of any team on the slate. So a lot of interesting spots here. We already talked about the Chiefs. The one thing on the Chiefs, yes, Travis Kelce is out, but they do have everybody else healthy. And one of the things that we've seen from Andy Reid when he has everybody healthy is he's not just, I don't know that they just pound the ball to Tyreek Hill because Kelce is out. You do have all of these other weapons, even Josh Gordon, who got in a box. I think it was a couple of weeks ago when we all played the Chiefs, and it was Josh Gordon and the running backs who did all the damage. So you kind of got to pick and choose there just because they're in really the same situation as the Rams are, even without Kelce.
Yeah, and I agree. And the other thing too, just some of the cheaper guys, like someone in the chat mentioned Emmanuel Sanders. We haven't quite got there yet. We'll get there. So if you're just filing in, hit that like button. We're just talking about the guys at the top that are the chalk right now. And I think, one of the points made that just sometimes, like when I'm listening to something, I'll hear it and bring it out and makes me think about it. It's like with Kupp. One of the things that stands out to me is that that's just going to be such a common roster construction where even if people are getting different, it's still in these value ranges. So if they're getting different at quarterback, we talked about how all the cheap guys aren't getting ownership. So they go down, in goes Kupp. If you go to running back, even if you go to some of these pivots, still have the money, in goes Kupp. So I think we see this all the time. You guys are big NBA guys in the DFS streets. We do everything over here at Runpure Sports, of course, but just thinking about nights where all the value from Atlanta and Jokic is there for 12-6. What's everybody doing? Plugging them in. You instead play 2 9K guys, and that's what you see end up at the top because DeJounte Murray or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a huge night. So little things like that I think you can do here as well. And it makes me just lean off Kupp a little bit. I'll have Kupp in a main lineup. I think the raw points, the ability, what he can do after, high dollar, smaller field, that matters so much more. But in these large field tournaments, we've seen where he can put up 40 and not be needed. And when he's 9,100 at almost 40%, that would be my bigger challenge. The other guy I have a little bit of trouble with is Palmer. I think we talked about it a little bit before the show, before we got on, but just thinking about it, I looked at my lineups, don't have very much of him. It's just, I did this last week. It burned me with Gabe Davis at 3,700, and then he got there late. But like I said all the time, it was Ayuk the other night in Showdown. If these guys want to burn me at the last second, it's not, Vin Diesel. It's not how much you win, inch or a mile, winning's winning, sure. But I'm okay with it because that's really what you needed to happen for them to even get there. If the scenario is that you think you're going to be having to sit on your couch and wait for this guy to catch a bomb or catch a target late in the fourth quarter, I don't care what his price is. It's probably not a good idea. And there's lots of guys you can go up to. So speaking about off the chalk and Anthony in the chat, I would like just finding that little bit of money to go up from Palmer to a guy like Sanders, who's still attached to a pretty good quarterback in Josh Allen. So I think there's little things like that you could do. I think Keenan Allen could match Cooper Kupp today, just in the spot that I don't think they're really going to try and triple team him or anything. It may take a little bit longer, but like I said, if he's getting 15, 16 targets, which is definitely in the realm of possibility with no Eckler, no Mike Williams, and no Jalen Guyton, there's definitely opportunities there. Herbert loves to chuck it to him. It's just dink and dunk for 10 catches, 15 catches. Those add up. Hoop said it. We joke about the Renfro thing again, but the math is there. If you get 10 catches for 10 yards, that's 100 yards with the bonus, with the 10 points for the PPR. You're at 23 points. If he gets a touchdown, he's at 30. His 30 is equal to Cooper Kupp's 40 at that price, and you get yourself a different roster construction. And then what if Kupp fails or only gets 24 or 25? That's kind of the difference there. Going down, AP, talk to me about some of the other guys you like down below the chalk guys that we just talked about.
Yeah, so I have 3 guys that I really like in tournaments that I think could, definitely have the ability to break the slate. So Tyler Lockett is back, and there's something going on between Russ and DK Metcalf. I mean, those 2 guys not jiving at all. Not the case with Tyler Lockett, and we've seen it. When he has DK Metcalf out there, when he has Tyler Lockett out there, he's just looking Tyler Lockett's way. The Bears haven't been as good against opposing receivers. I like him here, and I think he's going to be very low owned, sub 5%. He's definitely making my receiver pool. I'm not playing DK Metcalf though. Sure, it's DK. He could go off, but man, there's something going on there. He just has not been good. The connection hasn't been good. DJ Moore, like I said, I think if we get Sam Darnold in there against a Bucks, not only secondary, I don't think they're going to have an effective pass rush with those guys not practicing and with many key guys out. So it should be a pretty clean pocket there for them to get the ball to DJ Moore. And then the other guy is Russell Gage. And I don't like the script as much. I love the targets that I'm seeing. I think he's going to be able to fly free here against the Lions. Hopefully the Falcons want to pour it on. They're not usually a team that likes to do that. But Russell Gage, I think he has to get there early. And if he can get the target share, I think he's an interesting play, going to be very low in 2. Maybe that's more of a recency bias type play, maybe falling into, what did you do for me lately type of deal? Because, 11 targets, 6, 12 the past 3 weeks, and he's kind of crushed. So could be kind of a letdown spot. But I do see myself eating a lot of chalk here at receiver. I'm going to have a ton of Tyreek Hill. I love Antonio Brown. Torn on Cooper Kupp. I almost maybe want to go the Justin Jefferson route, just because I always have him in my player pool and he rarely disappoints. And then it's mixing and matching some of these cheap guys. Nico Collins is probably my favorite cheap receiver. I do have interest in Byron Pringle. Like JT Hayes said, the attention is going to be all on Tyreek Hill now. The Steelers, they found dirty ways to get these wins. They're right in the mix. It's a must-win game for them. They're not going to win it, but they're going to be playing smart. You got to think they're going to be playing smart. What they're going to do is bracket Tyreek Hill. I think that could open things up for Byron Pringle, who's been their dependable wide receiver number 2 over Mecole Hardman, over Josh Gordon, obviously, and those guys. So Byron Pringle, 3.3, I definitely think is viable and is a nice pivot over maybe a Josh Palmer type. Manny Sanders, Laquan Treadwell are a few others that I'm looking at as well, as far as like those cheap 3K guys that I'm looking at.
Yeah, and that's why I said I think there's a lot of pivots there. Braxton Berrios on the other side of that game with Laquan Treadwell, both down there. You mentioned a couple other guys that I like too. So yeah, I'll talk about DK Metcalf versus Lockett. I think it has to do with Bible narrative and as well as the workbench. This is a one-woman man, Lockett's a no-woman man, and DK Metcalf's out there looking for foursomes. So I think that kind of might have something
I thought it was like he was upset at DK for not inviting him to the game.
No,
that's not it.
He's Sierra, man, one-woman man, and he's at Bible study. I don't think it jives too well with Lockett, who's, like I said, a no-woman man. So anybody else you want to talk about here, JT Hayes, other guys you like for the week, and then we can move to tight end.
Yeah, we talked about the Cincinnati guys. I think the Cincinnati guys are in a really good spot. And then nobody's going to play. It looks like we're getting single-digit ownership on the Rams secondary pieces, Odell Beckham Jr., Van Jefferson, which interesting, of course, in game stacks. And then, yeah, I know it's Drew Lock. I know that Drew Lock is very erratic, but you've got really cheap pricing on guys like Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, and Tim Patrick in what has been pretty friendly matchup for opposing wide receivers for most of the season. So I think one of those guys is going to have a big game. The difficulty is picking which one. Kind of lean towards it being Jeudy or Sutton. And you're going to get those, I think, pretty low on.
Yeah, and someone said in the chat, what about Isaiah McKenzie? The interesting part about that spot is that the matchup that they've got in the game, obviously Bill Belichick likes to try and shut down number ones. It still works to this day, but it was more of a thing back in the day, I think. But he's still what he tries to do with his defensive scheme, and with Stephon Diggs there, if he shuts him down, no Beasley, no Knox, or other guys out. So I think what you want to look at there is Sanders, who I like quite a bit, if I didn't mention it before. And then Mike McKenzie is 3K minimum. So I definitely think he's possible as well. Let's move on, though. Let's go to tight end, guys. We're just about at 200 likes. We're pushing for 250. So if you just take this last second, hit the like button. Over 500 watching leading up to the morning wood, which is awesome on this very early Sunday morning right after Christmas. So we love to see it. AP, here's what I got at the top for tight end. Take us through. We've got Rob Gronkowski, Jared Cook, and then, of course, the Dallas Goedert pairing with the, like I said, a little bit baffling chalk in Jalen Hurts. So what are you doing here at the tight end position with this chalk?
Yeah, I think one at tight end, it's very site dependent. I think FanDuel is going to be very different than DraftKings. I mean, Kyle Pitts, I believe, is like free on FanDuel. Very cheap for the tight end position. Dallas Goedert, I mean, the targets are there. Gosh, we talked about it. JTA's talked about it. These little division rivalry matchup. Like, I just want to, I want to stay away from that game. I do think Goddard's going to be very popular. 5'1". The targets are there. I think it's fine. The other guy I want to stay away from is Gronk, 6'2". I mean, I wasn't playing, and I was wrong in many of these spots, but I wasn't playing Gronk when he was much cheaper in good matchups earlier on in the season. So, like, why would I get on him here at 6'2"? I know the target, like, I know he's going to have to be one of those key guys, but I don't want to go there. I see myself maybe looking for a cheap tight end, some guy to provide some additional salary relief. The other guy too, and I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say, but Mark Andrews has been like a key piece for this Ravens team, but we get a new quarterback in there, and it's like, can we really trust it? And he's going to get ownership. People are going to look at what he's done. He's broken slates 2 in a row now. Can he go 3? I mean, we've seen players do it, but it's mainly been like Cooper Kupp types. It hasn't really been Mark Andrews, a guy that definitely has a floor here if there's no connection. So I'm taking this 2 ways, and I'll be honest. Like, I don't have the guy I fully want yet, or the guys, but like, I think I'm going to be fine punting at tight end for salary relief to get some of these higher priced guys, especially to make a Mahomes, Tyreek Hill stack work, plus eating some of that chalk we talked about. I don't have the guys yet, but I do want it to be someone that's going to get good target share exposure. I want it to be a good game environment. And I have a lot of guys I can eliminate, like Tyler Higbee, a guy that I haven't been playing. I don't really want to play. Minnesota has been decent against opposing tight ends at times. So I'm really curious to see where you guys are at, because I might just find one of these, cheap 2K guys and just punt and pray type of deal at tight end.
Yeah, I'm not quite that low, but I have a lot of guys at the 3K range, and none of them are the chalk. So when it comes to, Gronk, Goddard, Cook, Gronk would be the guy I'd actually take more of if you want to go up to the chalk. Like I said, I think when you get to the red zone, that's who Brady wants to go to. It's a guy he trusts. It's a guy that is at least capable of a 2-touchdown game. And the ownership's more spread out at tight end than usual. Usually at least one guy is hitting 20 to 25% range. I don't see that as of now. And then as far as the, the one guy that was just below a tier, Komet, he's 3,300. A lot of talk about him in the chat. I really don't like him as much. I think if you go Komet, go the full way, like JT Hayes said. Put in Foles, put in a run back like Lockett, and see if you can make something work there. But I like Uzoma right underneath him. Baltimore gets eaten up by the tight end as it is. It can go into your Burrow stacks. It can be a secondary stack. It can be in there in your Josh Johnson lineups. There's just so many ways that you can be different. And then the guy I really like is down, and he's another great pivot, just $100 less than Komet there, and that's James O'Shaughnessy. Talked about it earlier, Jacksonville James week. Everyone's counting on James Robinson. I could definitely see a nice little leverage play here. I could see mini secondary stacks that work. I talked about Berrios earlier. You can put them both in with Trevor Lawrence and hope that's the end zone for them, like Brady, Fournette, Gronk used to be, or it could be Brady, Jones, Gronk this week with Fournette being out. I'm saying you could have Lawrence, Robinson, O'Shaughnessy, and get that little stack in, and then just jam every expensive player that you want in. And if Jacksonville just somehow does its job, it is the lowly Jets. If they somehow do their job, you would have a bunch of good guys going in the afternoon that are just racking up PPR points, kind of like how I did it at King of the Beach a few weeks back. Just get all the targets into that lineup. But JT Hayes, I'll let you go here. We've got Gronk, Cook, Goddard at the top. And then don't forget our boy, Kyle Pitts, going for the Mike Ditka 1961 record. Got to get some Kyle Pitts love in there this week.
Yeah, so I'll start with Gronk. I think Gronk is the guy most likely to have 30 of that group at the top, right? I mean, you've got no Godwin, you've got no Evans, you've got a defense that's league average, maybe a little bit better than that. And it's Tom Brady, and they're coming off a loss. And I think the two guys that he's going to be looking for are Gronk and Antonio Brown. We don't know what to expect. The other thing of Antonio Brown hasn't really been practicing. He's been out for quite a while. Yes, he knows the playbook. Yes, the connection between him and Brady is there. But I could see a situation where, in games where Antonio Brown is fully healthy, the way that he plays the game, half the game he's sitting on the sideline getting oxygen. So I could see a scenario where he plays maybe half the snaps, 55% of the snaps, and then you're looking at these other guys, and I think Gronk is the main one. So I do have a lot of interest in Gronk. A couple of other guys. Kyle Pitts was close. I liked Kyle Pitts last week. It didn't work out. Mark Andrews smashed, but he was really close to a big game there. Had a catch there where one of his feet landed out of bounds, a circus catch. Now he gets a matchup against the Lions. We've been playing tight ends against the Lions for years. And between him and Gage, I think it's 1 and 1A in terms of receiving threat after Cordy Patterson in a game that Atlanta should be able to do what they want, even defensively. So it's an interesting spot for him. But I think if you're going to pay down, you're looking to a couple of these other guys. One guy that's interesting, and we haven't talked at all about the Houston Texans. AP mentioned Nico Collins just as one, probably their main wide receiver with Cooks out. Brevin Jordan at 2,500 is a guy that they've been targeting. And if you wanted to pay down, I think he's interesting here in a matchup against the Chargers, who give up a lot of points to opposing tight ends. So I think that is pretty interesting. Then people in chat mentioning CJ Uzoma. I love this guy's talent, but his big games have come when either T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd has been out. When they have all those wide receivers in, plus you have Joe Mixon, the target tree for Uzoma becomes very thin.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just think, and I know they already said it, that they're not going to do the same thing to Jamar Chase that they did to Devontae Adams, the Ravens I'm talking about, where they triple bracketed him or whatever you want to call it up at the top there. So I just think there's still going to be opportunities, and the way you beat them is with the tight end. So I think Uzoma is still okay. It's obviously it's a risk somewhat there. I like the Brevin Jordan call just because you're flipping sides, right? We talked about Cook being the chalk. You can still go with those Herbert game stacks. And if you want to run, if you do want to run it back, use him on the other side. And then, yeah, the chat's talking about AB and his conditioning. It's insane. The guy's doing like finger drills and stuff on Snapchat and stuff. He's always working on it. So I do agree there. AP, before you go to defense, because we got to get out of here pretty quick. And guys, almost at 250 likes. We're going to do the off the chalk play of the day for each of us at the end. So hit that like button to support. AP, they want to know about the tight end to own for KC. And then go to D, because I think you're just Chiefs D lock this week anyway. So we can move through that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, Noah Gray or Blake Bell, I mean, not guys I really trust. I mean, they're better blockers. So, and they design gimmicky plays for these guys, like around the goal line. So it's like, gosh, I've just seen, Blake Bell especially drop some like easy balls from Mahomes. So I don't really trust the tight ends out of Kansas City. I know Kansas City, a team that loves to involve the tight end, but it's not like NBA where a player goes out and the usage just goes to their backup. Not at all, especially when you're talking about a player like Travis Kelce. So I'm off the Chiefs tight ends. Sure, that you could get lucky and Blake Bell could land, fall into the end zone on a gimmicky play. That possibility is there. I don't really like it. I do like the Brevin Jordan call. I'm stealing that from JT Hayes. I've just looked at him right now. I mean, yeah, he's a guy that they definitely like to get involved and is a fine greenback if you're not going Nico Collins. So very good call there. Yeah, tight end I think is tough. Just to finish it out, I'm going to be fine punting at tight end, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a week where one of these guys, like a Mark Andrews, doesn't kill us. We've had that for I think 3 weeks in a row now. Mark Andrews, George Kittle. I think this is the week where tight end finally kind of chills, and we see the receivers get it done. Defense, yeah, Tambo, yeah, you called it out. Chiefs D, I'm going to be very high on. I haven't even looked at ownership projections for defenses yet.
Bengals are at the top. Bengals, Atlanta Falcons, and the Eagles.
Chiefs are flying under the radar again. Oh yeah. Man, okay, yeah, I might just lock them in, and because all their guys are back. All their guys are back. You get Big Ben. He's going to get sacked a ton. Like they're going to literally, they're going to blitz him so hard all day long. It's going to be an absolute shit show for Big Ben. And yeah, Chiefs defense, I might just lock him in and ride with it. We hate defense anyway. I've gone to spread it around. I've gone to, this and that. I'm almost like turning towards just like lock in one defense you feel good with and move on. Like get way overweight. and hopefully you end up, hitting the luck box defense that week. And yeah, but
yeah,
Chiefs
the
D for
chalk
me.
is a little bit more spread at the top, but I love the Chiefs D call. And I hope that the Kansas City tight end that works this week is named Clyde Edwards-Helaire, because he's the guy I'm hoping that they use at the goal line instead of trying to pick one of those tight ends in Noah Gray or Blake Bell, or who, if they're going to throw to Josh Gordon again, like you said. AP or JT, talk to me about defense, and then AP, have your off the chalk play of the day on deck. JT Hayes, defense, what do you got?
Well, first of all, I'm still speechless. I can't believe that AP is looking at a Chiefs onslaught with the defense. That to me is maybe the most surprising thing, in the history of doing these shows. But I got a question for you, Tambo, because I do like the Chiefs defense. I think you like the Chiefs defense too. But on Thursday, you liked a little bit of Najee Harris. Are you still on Najee Harris, or you think with all these other running backs, situation in Pittsburgh, game in Kansas City, have you come off of him?
No, I'm definitely still on him. So I don't like to play running backs against each other too often. And we talk about this enough, don't have a bunch of time here, but from a portfolio perspective on 150 plus lineups, I like to play like Harris I can get Mahomes, Hill, Harris today and feel okay with it. Zach Gentry is a guy we didn't talk about at tight end with Ebron out and Freiermuth out there. So little things that you can do and get in that way, but I'll still have games where KCD and CEH, or CEH and Zach Gentry as a secondary stack, or CEH with the Chiefs D. Definitely in on the Chiefs D though, because everyone's playing the Eagles up at the top. And I think like I said, Big Ben is just a statue. Guys like Chris Jones, these guys coming at him, it's going to be a bad day for Big Ben.
Yeah, so I like the Chiefs D. I like the Eagles defense too. We don't know what to expect out of Jake Fromm, but have to believe that as long as he's been kicking around here in the NFL with no team even thinking about giving him a starting role or trying him out for a starting role, that he must not look that good in the practice snaps, plus the weapons that are out for the New York Giants, the way that they're coached, which is just a stoic, miserable offense. It's, I think, a good spot for the Eagles. And then the third one, if I'm going to pay down, whether it's Tim Boyle or David Blau, I mean, the Falcons defense at home, before that game against the 49ers, they had 3 games in a row where the defense exceeded their expected fantasy points. And I don't know, a little bit concerned because DeAndre Swift may be back, but I just don't know what to expect in terms of workload out of him. So I think the Falcons defense at 2.6 is fine if you're going to pay all the way down, but I am going to try and get up to the Chiefs or the Eagles where I can.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Bucks. I like the Broncos. I like some of the others down there at the bottom. We got to get out of here though. AP, give us your off the chalk play of the day.
Yeah, I was going to change it, but I can't do that. I got to go back to DJ Moore, 5.7 on DraftKings. I'm hopeful that Sam Darnold does get the bulk of the run here. I think that'll be great for DJ Moore, 5.7. I just think, man, the guy's so talented. He's going to be going against a Bucs defense that looks pretty rattled, lots of injuries. So I think he's going to be a guy right there in that mid tier that has 100-yard touchdown, 8 catch type of day upside.
Love it. Awesome. JT Hayes, what do you got?
Yeah, interesting week. I'm going to go off the chalk with my play of the day. Probably not going to come as much of a surprise as much as I gave AP a bunch of shit for his take on the Chiefs and liking the Chiefs. We got to go back to Cordy, a guy that I was not high on in the beginning of the season, but he has been the engine for this offense, and he allows you to get off of that cheap running back chalk. I think Cordy Patterson puts up 25 plus DraftKings points today.
You did steal mine. He was, I was going to say the pivot right there off of Madison and a little bit cheaper, but I had a backup ready, and it's the tight end. I'm calling him now the Kansas City tight end because I'm hoping they just go to him instead. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm hoping the running back for Kansas City actually does his job today and sneaks a couple touchdowns in. He's a really good pivot there at 5,800 when you've got James Robinson at 59, Montgomery at 57, getting some steam. So we appreciate you guys. The likes, a little bit hurtful, I will say. Give a like on the way out. Give some support. Big T coming off a huge night. You got Big T Hoop and Holden coming up next with the Morning Wood. Still free. Give them a like on the way out. Give them some support going into that show. For AP, for JT Hayes, and for myself, ToeTagginTambo. Simon, get us out of here.
What is up, you guys? We are super excited to announce our new partnership with SaberSim. For those of you who aren't familiar, SaberSim is a DFS optimizer and projection system used by some of the top DFS players in the industry. It provides some of the best ownership and scoring projections on the market, and now you will have a chance to bundle it with an RPS subscription for our low price. For a limited time only, you'll get both Runpure's great content along with the SaberSim product and projections, typically valued over $190 a month, combined for our low cost of $135 a month, just by using the promo code SABER15BIGT. How dope of a deal is this?
This is going to be the best deal in the industry. $135 is going to get you all the content on the site and the optimizer. So you got a nice intro price. This also includes the bet side, which we have one of the best bets teams in the industry. Also, the optimizer is going to be accessed directly on the site now. And eventually, we're even going to have the core plays directly on the optimizer within the next couple of weeks. So another really nice bonus.
All right, so why don't you show us how quick you can knock out over 150 lineups using the SaberSim optimizer?
Yeah, this optimizer is going to be very nice on the site. Tons of new options. If you want to look at the screen, we got SaberSim projections, RPS projections right next to each other. You have options like being able to do the average of both, which is nice. Obviously, I like the Runpure projections, but the SaberSim projections are awesome too, and it gives you a nice balance between the two to form some of your own opinions, which I love to do. As you scroll to the right, you got other stuff like ownership projections, which comes from SaberSim. Eventually, we might have more of our stuff on the site too, but SaberSims are awesome. Gives you another data point when you're building lineups. And then as you work your way to the right, we got the ability to see upside of players. 85th percentile, 99th percentile. You can see the upside of some of these guys. And then just to prove the point, you can build 150 lineups very quickly. Go up here to build lineups. Gives you a bunch of cool options that we'll go through as we start getting used to this and putting content out. But you got GPP, cash, multiplier, satellite option. For this, we're just going to do GPP. I'm going to show you how quick we can make 150 teams. But also, you got single entry in here, 3 max, 20 max. Just a ton of cool options to show you guys as we get going. How many entrants are in the field you're playing? Put that in there. Bunch of cool stuff like correlation, ownership, variance with the sims, tons of stuff that you're going to be able to use. I'm going to run 150 teams here and show you guys just how quickly you can run 150 with this optimizer. So as you can see, 150 teams took me about 30 seconds. And once you have more time, you can play around with the numbers, really get them where you want them. But I was just trying to show how convenient it is. You got your optimal team right here. Shows you how much salary you used, projected score, SaberSim score, which kind of shows you your upside type thing. Tons of stuff on here. Total ownership, 267%. So a chalky team right there. But again, as we get more comfortable with the system, you'll be able to tinker a lot more. And tons of stuff up here too. If you want to play an upside team, you can click 99th percentile. It's going to run again for you. Give you an upside team here, more upside. Tons of options though. As we get going, we're going to do tons of content. All of our shows are going to be using this. I'm going to be using it personally to build my tournament teams. Super excited to get going with SaberSim and get this partnership going to make the content we do even better going forward.
And just a reminder, you can access all of the Runpure premium content for all sports, along with SaberSim optimizer and projection system for the low monthly price of just $135 a month for a limited time. Just use the promo code SABER15 while signing up to get this deal for a limited time only. Don't wait, sign up now, and of course, let's Runpure.
Let's go. We got Big T. We got Hoop. I do not congratulate these guys unless they pull down 6 figures. We've done that with Hoop a couple of times this season. I think we've hit Big T up at least once, and now we've got to do it again this season. Congratulations, Big Tony. Way to go. Hoop is just going to sit there in his Renfro jersey like he should, just marinating on that still. But congratulations. Another giant. Was it 150, 200? What was it?
Yeah, it was a good day. Yahoo, FanDuel, fun day. Especially I love slates like that anyways. Whenever you get me on a short slate where the games are spread out, 2 games in football, 5 in basketball, but spread out where you can like make pivots and changes. Always like those things, especially when you know like probably 70% of the field is out drinking and doing stuff like to where they're not going to make the same pivots. It just gives you a very big edge, which I say on like normal slates, like the people that can just sit home and react to all the news have just such a big, which is why I've never liked late swap. You just get such a big edge just sitting there. And on these NBA slates, I mean, little news goes a long way with some of this stuff and makes a big difference for sure. It was a fun day, though.
6 or 7 or 8 years ago when they used to not have late swap on FanDuel.
I love that.
Yeah, right? You'd throw it in. You'd sit back.
I would gladly sign up for no late swap any sport.
Yeah. What's up, Hoop? You got the jersey on today. Everything's going well. We got. Our pets' heads are falling off. What did Renfro play
last week?
Huh?
Doesn't matter.
Did he have a game? Did he play last week?
Yeah. What about 2 weeks ago when you and Tambo laughed me off the show?
It was perfect though that he came back on that short slate and got like a 6 ball.
Yeah, the team got the win. It was a nasty game. It doesn't matter. I mean, Renfro's a team player. He's not in it for the stats and accolades. He's in it for the Raiders to pick up. The funniest
part about the whole thing is the jersey looks so good on Hoop. It's a natural. It's a natural
really
color and shade. It's perfect for him.
Yeah, these are my colors. I mean, all I really wear is black and gray stuff, and then sometimes I mix in red. Like the only colors that matter, like the RPS colors. Yeah, I mean, so I'm not.
I wish I liked the Raiders guy because I'd wear one with you. Like if I liked Carr, I'd be Carr, and you could be Renfro.
Hey, that's all I'm looking for. A little 1-2 Hoop Big T combo would be a match made in heaven right there. But the Renfro jersey staying on. I mean. Got a couple more weeks of it, I think, and we'll see. I might get a little, might frame it and put it right over my head, just as a reminder to everyone.
That would be sweet, actually.
No, that would require Mrs. T giving up these hoops, and Tony, that's not going to happen. Those hoops might be like super glued on the wall at this point because these things I don't think are going anywhere.
Have you tried Hoop? Have you tried to get him?
He's got to relocate to the basement. His basement is solid. He's got to get out of that office if he's got to have the freaking hula hoops back there.
Hey, the basement has a brand new carpet for when Big T posts up next time. Big T loved the basement. You had a full setup down there. I mean, you were living nice in that basement.
Yeah, I like it. Whenever I go broke, that's where you'll find me holding.
I love that he's put the new carpet down. I love his new cabinets. I love his woodworking. Just big fan of Hoop and what he does in the inside of his house.
You missed it last week, Tony, by the way.
I saw it. I was laughing.
Yeah, this guy gives me the compliment about the cabinets. Like I love the color of the cabinet. I know. I'm saying last week you gave me the compliment about the cabinets and how you like the color. So I was going into the quick story about the cabinets and how they, were there before and, we got them sanded and painted and they look real nice. And dude just cuts me off, wants nothing to do with the story after complimenting
He's not listening
me
right now either.
About the comment. And look at it, he has no.
It's like you were telling
I can tell he's like looking at what he's going to talk about next already.
Yeah, he's like, how am I going to pivot off this bullshit story that I don't want
to? What are you doing? You can say the same thing about this slate. Let me just roll down everything that I've got from this slate. And there's a lot going on. Tyreek Hill is in. Damian Harris, who had a nice couple runs against the Bills, is in. And there's no Ramondre Stevenson. Thielen is in. And DJ Moore is in. Those are the big names right now. The big names that are out. Kelsey, out. Eckler, out. Mike Williams, Jalen Guyton, out. Lamar and Huntley, out. Gabe Davis and Beasley, out. So I'm thinking there's some Dawson Knox and Isaiah McKenzie time rolling out there. Fournette's out. David Johnson's likely out. And that's really what we got going on here. Hoop, I'll start with you with this complete clusterfuck is what it is. But it also, I mean, if there's a million different values, let's go find a couple and plug them into our cores. How are you handling this slate?
Yeah. first off, Merry Christmas to everyone. I
Oh,
hope
yes,
everyone
Merry
had
Christmas.
a nice Christmas, enjoyed some time with the family. Good sports slate, obviously, yesterday in terms of NBA. Solid. NFL was solid. So Merry Christmas to everyone. Hope you got to spend some time with your family. Congratulations to Big T on another massive win. Very impressive stuff out of him. And if you're looking to kind of hop on board with that, Tony posts his entire player pool on our website every single day for all the sports he plays. So, I mean, you're not going to find a more in-depth breakdown of plays. And this is, part of our product over here at Runpure Sports. The partnership with SaberSim is one. I mean, we're still kind of getting the feel for all of it. I know our coordinators are, our members are as well. I mean, once we start fine tuning this thing and really honing in, I mean, you're going to see a lot more results like you saw yesterday with Big T taking down GPPs on multiple sites. So congratulations to Tony.
I can talk more about it too, because again, everything I say is the truth. So if you don't hear me touting stuff, then I probably don't like it. That's just the truth for future reference. I don't like to say stuff when I don't like it. And yesterday, I mean, everyone's doing the family stuff. I'm doing it too. I got a wife, 3 kids, big family. I'm doing it. So SaberSim, when you upload your documents from each, I mean, I played literally every slate, I think, in the main sports, all the showdowns, everything I played. So I upload all the CSVs from DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo into SaberSim on the Runpure Sports site. Then I have it all ready to go. So whenever I make my changes to before each game slot, it's real easy. I just go in, change. If some guys rolled a starter that wasn't or whatever the news, go in, update my numbers, rerun the numbers. Each game set too. I did it every single game. And then re-upload to DraftKings. It's like super easy with how we have it set up there with this package between us and SaberSim. And it's only going to get better, like Hoop said. Once we get these core plays, different things in there, going to be awesome. But even right now, I love it. I've always used some other ones where I have to copy and paste and stuff. I don't have to copy and paste anymore. And it treated me well yesterday. I really like the entry tool on the SaberSim, how it works.
I love it. So let's get into some other thoughts from you, Tony. And before we get into that, and I'll read off all the winners. I mean, there's so many winners and stuff. To take something from Curb Your Enthusiasm, we've got Happy New Year coming up. When is the cutoff for saying Happy New Year? Is it 7 days in? 10 days into the new year? Can we go into February?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not over a week. I mean, it's got to be within a week, I would say. It's good. That's a good Curb episode, though.
It was a great Curb episode.
Yeah.
Hoop, when do we start shunning people for saying Happy New Year? At what point in time do we just start saying you're idiots and stop it?
Yeah, I think the 1 week window is probably what I would agree with. If you see someone on January 7th and you're like, Happy New Year, that might be pushing it. And it's also like situational. Like, are you off of work for the entire first week and then you're going back to work and you see your coworkers? And I guess maybe, the 7th, 8th is okay. But after that, it's like, all right.
That's a good exception. You're right. If you see a coworker for the first time, you could say Happy New Year real quick. I think.
Yeah.
There's still got to be some sort of cutoff, but everybody probably goes back by the 8th anyways, right? Everybody that goes back into the office.
I'd assume, yeah. I'd assume so. So, it's good cutoff, I think, is a week. Yeah, but the initial question you'd asked me about the slate, I think this is like a great slate. We have elite value plays at running back. We have elite spends at wide receiver and even tight end a little bit. The slate is, I think it's a phenomenal slate. I think I'm gonna call a big shipper for Big T. I mean, I've been worked with Big T for probably 8-9 years. And I've had a pretty good sense of when Big T is about to have an explosion, and he runs hot. I think last night started something. So honestly, even for cash games, I'm looking at Big T's player pool today because Big T is smashing today. Right, I will just say that right now. It's a Big T day.
I'll say one thing too, because I was busy yesterday, obviously, with all this. I didn't put anything up, but I just built my first FanDuel team. It was one of those days where literally the first click I made on each name, it fit perfectly into the team. In my core is the only thing up on the site right now, but my God, that team looks good.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and I'm making some adjustments to my team based on that.
So you like your FanDuel team? Like,
Well, it's the only one I have so far. I
right.
haven't built anything else.
All right. And Hoop, you seem to be one of 3 people that knows when Tony's about to have a big explosion.
Yeah,
Him,
you can.
his wife, and yourself.
Multiple ways. Yes.
Yes.
I get
Correct,
I get notifications from Big T when the explosions are about to happen.
You're like, hit the shower. Ding.
The shower, yeah.
Hey, what's the number today, Hoop? 550, 600? Where are we going with that?
Yeah, let's I think we're gonna get a lot of momentum built up on the show. Let's be aggressive. We're gonna get to 6 bills. If not, it's not gonna be good. So six bills. 6 spins, as Big T likes to say.
All right, 600 likes. Also, shout out to my old buddy D-Rock. Used to work here. Just got too busy. He's got stuff going on in his family. He pulled down 20-something K last night, too. I'm seeing all the screenshots from.
There was 4 members. They had that same team yesterday. Second place in the Millie. Four of them.
Yeah. D-Rock is such a good dude. Yeah, congratulations to D-Rock.
Great
just
guy.
A phenomenal person. I'll never forget when we did a few of those live streams last summer. He just comes on. He's like, fuck this. I got my whiskey. I'm taking my shirt off. Just goes topless. Nips out. Wait, wasn't it the Nips and Tats play of the day for MLB season? Nips and Tats play of the day.
Yeah.
Got
going on there. Brashad Perriman's out. Miles Jack is now out for the Jaguars. I don't have Josh Allen. This just keeps popping up. So there'll be more news. Make sure you stay around for that. We'll be doing, I'm a little bit worried about the 4:00 games. We'll see who else shows up today and just gets popped. But as of right now, we got a whole bunch of guys that we know are out. And also Jake Fromm's making his first NFL start against the Eagles. So he'll be going for the Giants today. Lots happening. And I really do like Damian Harris. I want to get your thoughts on him, but let's get into this slate and we'll start with the first game. Tony, just sit over there and marinate, buddy. I want to get your thoughts on the Giants and the Eagles in a second, but hoopage. Is it Jalen Hurts and Cash? Goddard looks great. I think Howard's a nice little sleeper. What do you got?
Very simple games today to break down. And I could be wrong, but I just think this is a week where there's good plays and then there's plays you just don't even need to play. A lot of these fringe plays you can cross off because we just have such elite value today. So, I mean, for me, it's very simple. It's Jalen Hurts, it's Dallas Goedert, and maybe a little Miles Sanders if you can just find the freaking end zone. Has not been able to find the end zone all season. It could happen here this week. Got a ton of carries last week. I think he got was it in the 20s, I want to say? 24 carries. Mm-hmm. The game, they're favored by 11. I think he should be in your player pool today. And without a top end running back to pay for, I mean, the running back position is filled with values. It's easy to mix in a bunch of these guys. He's probably number 5 on my list of preference. But man, if he's going to get 24, 25 carries in this game in a spot where the Eagles are favored by 11, sign me up for some exposure to him. So definitely Miles Sanders in the mix. I think Hurts is a fine play at quarterback. We saw the two. I mean, really, it comes down to whether or not he gets a rushing touchdown. If he gets a rushing touchdown, he tends to, or obviously he has good games. If he doesn't get a rushing touchdown, typically doesn't have the best of games. So Hurts is a fine option. Probably, I'd say more geared towards cash games opposed to tournaments. Agree? Yeah.
Got it, right? Yeah.
And then Goddard as well. Goddard, I think, is a strong play at the tight end position. I mean, he's just their best receiver on this team, most trusted. I mean, 6 targets, six receptions, 105 yards. I'm not messing around with Devonta Smith or Rager. Like he doesn't have the connections with those guys like he does with Goddard. So it's Hurts and Goddard, Sanders, and I'm going to continue to not play these shitty teams like the Giants. They're projected to score 15 points today. I don't think there's any reason to go there.
Yeah, who knows if they even get there? And they got Fromm starting, so who knows where he's going? Maybe like the third stringers. Who cares? Good point, Hoop. Tony, are you going to plug any of these Eagles in here today? Maybe the defense. What do you got?
I said on the Print Factory the other day, I've never said you could do this, but man, I wouldn't even totally hate just playing Hurts just naked by himself and stack up some other stuff. Because if he gets the rushing touchdowns, 1 or 2, I mean, he's going to get there. But man, I struggle with games like this. The Giants can't score points. I just can't play teams that I don't think the other team can score at all. I would play Hurts and Goddard, I guess, but even Goddard, I just don't see a ceiling if they're up like 27-6 or something. They're going to run the ball a lot. They like to run. They want to get a W in the division. How good does Philly run too, by the way? They get Washington, I think, last week with everyone out. Now they get the Giants with Fromm in there. They're running real good with how this is. I mean, they're back to probably 500 now, right, Holden? They got to be.
Yeah, they're right there, man.
Yeah, I mean, they were terrible early in the year. They've got really lucky with injuries and different things. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm okay with Hurts. I'm okay with Goddard, Sanders. I'll leave them in my player pool, but I'm really not super high on them.
They're 8th in the playoff race. They're tied with the Vikings. They're tied with the Saints. I mean, it's going to be a team that's one game over 500, like gets in the playoffs, probably in both conferences, and that's what we got with the Eagles right now. Okay, so Hoop set the number 600 for the like button. Let's do it, 600. Let's get that going on, and then the talking points that one Pumacom Simon got to me here. Like, subscribe. We got the little YouTube thing, the red sideways triangle in the bottom corner there. So hit that to subscribe. And our members are just absolutely crushing. Again, our old buddy D-Rock. I got so many people this weekend and so many different sports that are just saying, we won this, we won that. Huge night in the NBA. Showdown's been killing it. Yesterday on the 2-game slate. Oh my God. JSU had just a remarkable core on DraftKings. So that was nice to see. Lots going on. No promo code right now. It's just the time to get in. Runpuresports.com. You get the Showdown site as well. Let's get to our second game here. Big T, I'll go to you first. This will be the marquee early game, maybe not. Is Cooper Kupp just a lock button, or can you pivot off of him, or are you pivoting off of him? And is Justin Jefferson maybe that guy?
Yeah, I mean, Justin Jefferson, I'm excited for him today against this Rams defense, against guys like Ramsey. I'm excited to watch him torch these guys because I think he's going to have a monster game today. But, yeah, I mean, Cooper Kupp, you got all this value. The decision points in tournaments just come down to roster construction. Like, so many people are going to play these cheap backs, and they're going to play guys like Cooper Kupp. So you got to figure out a way to get different somewhere. I don't think it'll be with Cooper Kupp for me. I'm just going to play him more than likely. One of my problems, though, I'll admit it, like on these, I've talked to Hoop about this all year. I think I play too much chalk in NFL main slates. And in everything else, I don't do it. And I don't know what it is with NFL main slates. I just end up with so much freaking chalk, and it just hasn't worked out good for me. But again, this week, it just gets in my head, and I have a hard time. Like Cooper Kupp, with all these value guys out there, I just have a hard time not playing him, and I'm going to play him again. And I'm just going to hope the trend breaks. I'll find a couple low-owned guys in there somewhere to be different. Cooper Kupp and Jefferson, though, I mean, are just such good plays today for me. I think they're both going to crush. High floors, high ceilings, high everything. So then the rest of the game, you just got to decide. We got 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins at home. These are the spots where we've seen him spurt up a little bit and have some big games over the years in this time slot. Stafford's in a good spot. Madison is incredibly cheap on FanDuel. I think he's 5,500 or whatever he is on FanDuel. He's got to be in play. I mean, I like this game. Hey, Osborne, Van Jefferson, Beckham, Conklin. I mean, all these guys are in play for me, really. Not going to go to the running backs for the Rams. We saw last week Darrell Henderson came back. We got a bunch of good running back plays today. So I'm not going to play them, but everyone else in this game is in play for me, just looking through it. Even like that Skowronek got a decent amount of work last week in that primetime spot. I mean, he was getting peppered a little bit for a 3K receiver. So I don't know. I like this game a lot. Love Cooper Kupp. Jefferson might be my favorite play of the week. So like this game.
Just want to say something to the live show chat. Just your daddy. Way over the line here. Way over the line. I find it funny. I don't know what Hoop and Big T are going to find in there, but the live show chat definitely getting very uncomfortable right now. Let's bring the good mojo here, guys. Come on, let's have fun. I know you're trying to be funny. It kind of is. Hoop.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, it's a little much.
Hoop. We got some things I don't. Although I
Yeah,
do
let's
like
take
being
these
the.
last
I
two
do
off
like
of there,
being the
Justin
giver,
Bobby.
not the receiver, though. So I will say that.
Yeah, I'm a little bit uncomfortable. So, anyways, Hoop, I'm just trying to unsee things here. Do you see yourself having a Cup Jefferson lineup today?
I just
Look at
realized
Hoop's
it.
face.
Is that holding on the bottom of the total?
I don't think
bottom?
it is. I think it's awesome though.
On that
Yeah.
one.
I don't know why.
What if we
he's
want
doing
Holden in the
What are you
mix?
guys looking at? I was looking at the YouTube chat.
Yeah, go in the live show chat. Hey, just your daddy. Come on, we're trying to pick winners here, and you're just putting disgusting things in there. But that's what you get with Discord. You get laughs and great.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, how am I in the middle of that whole thing? That's got to be like the worst position.
What I was saying, I wasn't happy with it, but I was glad I was on the top bunk.
Yeah, Big T's living the life in this thing.
I mean, if I had to choose which spot, I'd definitely choose mine.
You're definitely getting. All right. So, anyways,
I guess if you're into that stuff, though, I'm getting the best of both worlds. So maybe I'm in the right spot.
Oh.
Hoop. Do you see yourself having any Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp in the same lineup today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
It's Renfro.
I mean, Cooper Kupp it's tough, and just to go to kind of Big T's point, it's like, man, some of these good plays today they're just good plays, and ownership will likely be high on like some of these running back guys. They're just good plays. It's like it's hard to not play these guys today. So Cooper Kupp is just, man, if you favored Cooper Kupp all season long or been underweight on him, it's been a bad NFL season for you. I mean, the guy just absolutely smashes. I remember it was a couple weeks ago, didn't have a catch through the first quarter or something. Maybe he had like one catch through the first like quarter and a half, and then he just goes ballistic for like 120, 7 or 8 catches and a touchdown. Just such a safe option. And you just got to like what you see, like with the routes and everything. Like they'll throw it to him deep. The intermediate stuff, like you can't guard him. Like he's so just like agile, like on his feet, and just a phenomenal play. So, yeah, you got to keep playing Kupp. And it's easy to play him this week with all the value. I think, Van Jefferson, Beckham, I think they're great tournament plays. I mean, this game I could definitely see kind of turning into maybe a little bit of a shootout if Kirk Cousins can get it. The Rams are going to be able to move the ball today. Like they should have no issue doing that. Just comes down to what the Vikings are capable of doing. I think the Vikings are a better team than the record indicates. I mean, a ton of these one-score losses, they've looked pretty impressive in a lot of spots. I mean, no Dalvin Cook, but man, Madison's like the same dude as Cook when Cook's out. So Madison is a phenomenal play. Justin Jefferson, they get Adam Thielen back. Mangone's got to be out there peeling somewhere to the return of Adam Thielen, but it just helps this offense overall. Madison 6'8" on DK, great play over there. FanDuel just botched it, 5.5K, like just a free square for Alexander Madison this week. Although there are a lot of good cheap running back plays, so maybe not like a full free square because there's other cheap options. But this game, I think, has the chance to be exciting. And Jefferson's a great run back if you're going to play a lot of Cooper Kupp. Conklin, you can mix in. Higbee's back. So the Rams have their full complement really on offense, which is good. And I do have to thank Big T's Colts for reviving my Rams division winning bet. Like I have a decent chunk on the Rams winning the division, and the Cardinals just freaking suck. I mean, the Cardinals are probably, they have to, in terms of looking at the record, have to be the most overrated team in football. And Tony's Colts just owned them last night. So
been touting that Arizona overrated thing for a while too. It's just
so obvious. I mean, just a bad. I mean, not even like an average team. Like they're a bad football club.
I just love that it was Mr. Wentz that got us to the finish line too. It felt good. I had people subtweeting me on Twitter when he was struggling a little in the first half. Felt good when he threw those last couple holding. He looked good and down this. He looked terrible the first half. I'll give it to you. He looked really bad the first half, like he does. That's what Wentz does. He looks terrible, and then all of a sudden he'll throw like some 150-mile-an-hour just rope to somebody. Reels me back in.
Well, I don't fade you when you put Wentz in there. I thought it was a bit the first time, and then it hit, and then I'm like, you know what?
Well, yesterday was a 2-gamer to be fair.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it was too tough yesterday.
It's all right. A lot of people looked at it and said, this is just silly. We're not going to do this. So also shout out to Jonathan Taylor for busting a big run, looking like he was going to have an 800-yard day and then getting nothing. But then you mentioned
when your whole damn line's out.
Oh, and like the other team has no chance of doing anything on offense because their quarterback sucks and their offense sucks altogether. I mean, it's you just don't need to do anything.
So the Cardinals are 15-5-1 from weeks 1 to 7 under Kingsbury. 15-5-1. That's 740 win percentage. They're 8-18, 300 win percentage weeks 8 through 17. So Kingsbury's.
He sucks too as a coach. Like it is wild. Like just watching, obviously we watch a ton of these games and just seeing the decision making, like even just like the time management. Was it last week with the clock management with the Steelers? Like the team's about to score with 1:45 to go, like, and they're running it. Like you take your timeouts. Like you just let the clock go, let the team score, take the clock all the way down. Your offense doesn't have a chance to move the football. Like you get it back with 1 minute, 30 seconds and at least one timeout. Like the clock management stuff is just egregious. Like you have to be aggressive. Like you can't let the other team go into halftime and score with all three of your timeouts in your pocket. And so many coaches do that. I mean, was it last night where the dude let 15 seconds, I think it might have been the Colts coach, let 15 seconds run off the clock and then calls the timeout. Just egregious decision-making all around. And these guys that people think are smart coaches are just like donkeys.
All right. Like button, we're at 365. Hoops set it for 600. We can do that. It's not that big a number, people. Subscribers, Tambo has his core up. We got BigT set his core on FanDuel. We got plenty of time here. And if you are a subscriber, you know that some really great content comes out in the Up to Lock show. JSU, one of the best in the biz. I don't know anybody better working up to lock because he sits here, he gives out information, and he's building his cores. It's just spectacular. He's helped me out so much over these last 4 years, and he's coming on. We'll have JJ from the bet side to drop a bet or two in there, and then we'll move on. But Hoop, speaking of moving on, let's get to our next game, Buffalo and New England. Now, I think Tony's going to have a lot to say about this game, but I want to go to you first, see if we could get some stuff out of you. Again, Damian Harris is a guy that I like today. No Ramondre. He busted a big one against Buffalo in that weird game where there was wind and everything. And I think if he gets, 15 carries and he gets in the box, that'll count. But I don't know if that's a big time play here. So give me the rundown. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, any of these guys, because there is some value opening up. Dawson Knox could be a nice play with who do we got? Beasley's out and Gabriel Davis, unfortunately, is out too.
Yeah, the Gabe Davis thing is big. I mean, he's been like the number one red zone target for Josh Allen over the course of like the last 3 weeks. And we talked about it last week. Even when he didn't really have that much of a role like 3 or 4 weeks ago, Josh Allen was looking him up in the red zone very frequently. So they loved him in the red zone. The fact that he's out today, it's big. So, do we finally get another Stephon Diggs big game? It's very possible here. Now, the issue, not necessarily the issue, but if you are interested in playing the Bills, Josh Allen, you need to have an opinion on the game script here, because you don't want to be on the Bills if the Patriots are going to be playing with the lead or close to the lead, because they obviously just want to run this thing out, and they got Damian Harris in there today. So it's somewhat likely. So if you're playing the Bills, you're banking on the Bills having a lead, even a little lead, because you need the Patriots to be passing, because if the Patriots have any sort of lead, like they just do such a good job of just burying these games. So it is an interesting spot. Two teams that are going to want to win. I mean, we have a lot of dead teams right now in the NFL. These are two teams that want this game. And, this is likely, whoever wins this one likely wins the division. I do think the Bills are a little bit overrated, actually a lot overrated. I don't think they're a very good team. But it's a good spot because they have so many of these guys out. So Allen to Diggs, Dawson Knox, I think is interesting. The problem is, the run backs, because I really just don't want to be playing any Patriots. So this is a situation where I'd be fine playing some Bill stacks, but no run backs on the Patriots side.
Okay. Tony, give me your thoughts on the Bills there first. And then I want to get to another guy maybe we should discuss a little bit, but what do you got on the Bills side first?
Yeah, I've given out a few winners on this show over the year. It's been a good year for me betting wise anyways. Up a bunch of units on the bet sheet, but on the show I don't give them out often. I got a winner here. Buffalo is going to win this game easy. New England's the most overrated team in football. They have no good dudes. We saw the Colts embarrass them last weekend. They're just not good. And Buffalo, I just have the image in my mind of those dudes sitting at that press conference after the freaking game in that awful weather. And the announcers were asking them if they were embarrassed, and they were asking the coach if he should suck Bill Belichick's cock and all this other stuff. You don't think they're going to be motivated today? They're going to lay a beat down on this New England team. And these are going to be my lower owned guys too, because these guys aren't going to be as owned. Give me Josh Allen, give me Diggs, give me Knox, and let me go to the winner's circle because they're going to lay a whooping on this New England team, and I can't wait for it. Absolutely love it. I think they win by double digits and roll this New England team up. And if you need a run back, I think a pivot is not the guy that everyone would think. I think Brandon Bolden, the pass catching back, if they get down like I think they will, he's a pivot off these cheap running backs. And it's only in tournaments. I said we got to get a low-owned dude somewhere with all our chalk. All those cheap running backs, if you play an Allen, Diggs, Knox stack, don't be scared to run it back with a little Brandon Bolden at that cheap price, $4,200 on DraftKings.
So I'm just looking at – I'm going to throw Kendrick Bourne's name out here just for a second, okay? You can puke all you want.
I like it when you throw them. I would love a random Holden play in this game. Back.
Here's Kendrick Bourne at home.
You're getting me excited. I got a little wood going right now that you're going to give me a dude in this game.
Watch out. Bring a towel or a sock. So
I didn't say I was going to finish. I just said I was starting the process.
Might by the end of the time.
Starting the process.
Kendrick Bourne, DK points at home, 21.6, 14.5, 15.8, 24.1, 23.1. When this guy plays at home, he's terrific. Where's this game today? Anyone? Yeah.
It's in New England.
Yeah, Patriots are at home, Holden.
Kendrick Bourne will be my play of the day.
Oh, you're going to get me
mid-show. Come on,
Don't get me excited.
Kendrick Bourne today. Now,
I wanted to run back so bad, and you're going to say play of the day? Oh, you're getting me excited.
Does he need 17.5
Did you say
points?
play of the game or play of the day?
Play of the day. My play today is Kendrick Bourne.
Oh, you just I changed. I do need to get new undies. Hold
on.
That's big.
Is it okay if he gets you 17.5 on defense?
Yeah, it's okay if he gives me 17. I'll take in a run back. I'll take a run back in this game.
Yeah, that's my guy.
He's 5K.
Yeah, he's 5K and he smashes at home.
Holden,
I like to be on Holden's side of things. It just feels good because he's energetic and sexy and all that. Like I want to be on, but 5K for Bourne.
Too much.
This is the opposite of a hoop play, though.
Yeah.
Hoop plays Cole Beasley, Jarvis freaking Land. Hoop comes in the chat yesterday talking about another 12 reception for 28-yard guy, Jarvis Landry. Now, he's not going to like Bourne. This is me and Hoop play all the same stuff in NFL except receiver. He wants these these high target, low freaking yard guys. We want Kendrick Bourne, Holden. I'm with you. Let's go.
It's my guys, man. That's my guy.
I'm not going to question it because these calls have come through, but I mean, to go mid-show with the play of the day, I mean, it's
I got to take my shorts off.
Yeah, I'm not going to question it.
Tony was getting excited. I needed to finish him off.
I know.
I didn't want to disappoint you.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't want to disappoint you, Hoop.
Yeah. No, it's
to say it's a horrible play.
I wanted to run back so bad, Holden. You just made my day more than you even realize it.
I mean, I made the call early on in the show that Big T is like shipping, and I know how much he values your random
so I ruined
plays
it
throughout the day.
Oh, here we go with you being a puss again. Like whatever.
I might have to retract the statement because now I know Big T values your play of the day.
Oh, I love it.
It's going to be Kendrick Bourne. Like, no, I don't know if Big T's shipping today.
Oh,
I don't know. I know it's a big statement.
That is not my face on a chick. Stop putting my face on a chick.
Oh gosh, what is
Talk
that?
about like making me go shriveled up in a hurry. Come on.
Hoops going shriveling up?
No, some VIP freaking posted a picture of me as a chick, and
That doesn't even look like. Is that you?
I don't know. Maybe it's not. I don't know. It kind of
might
looks
just
like
be
me.
like a. Yeah, I don't know what the. Yeah, some of these. I gotta close down.
It's not me. It's a really ugly chick, whoever it is.
Too distracting, that chat. Like the
Yeah,
pictures
don't.
are funny, but
The lot. Oh fuck! What are we?
Yeah.
Oh God, guys, the chat is just not good today. You guys got to. The live show chat's out of control.
I mean that's the
You gotta
worst
shut her
one
down.
yet.
You got to shut her down now.
Got to shut it down. AP, are you in the chat, man? You're
VIP
a
usually
shut it
posts
down.
good stuff, dude. That's terrible. VIP.
It's gross. It's just gross. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know what's going on. And then the other thing is, Hoop gets upset when I talk shit about his cabinets, but this one, Hoop, if you're right, it's going to be sad because maybe
Don't be saying if you're right. Stop backpedaling. You
I'm not
stand your ground.
I'm not backpedaling. I'm just
Last week
telling
I
Hoop.
pressed you about your boy's Ulster and you got all nervous on me.
I mean, I don't even know if he had a catch. He had one catch that game.
He was kicking field goals in warm-ups.
It didn't work out too well.
Everybody's so scared too. Look at all these messages. I'm usually with Big T, but Bill Belichick in December. I'm not.
Who cares?
Come on, get on the Bills
I
wagon.
will
We're
say
winning
that's
today.
another bad take because the Bills suck. Like I don't know. Maybe the Patriots aren't good either, but the Bills suck. I mean, and Tony, I haven't done this in a while, but we're going to the schedule now. I mean, I mean, they beat the Panthers. Do you like that?
Like
you like them beating the Panthers? They beat the Saints. They beat the Jets, the Dolphins. The premier win is against the Chiefs when the Chiefs were like the worst team in football, and then the Texans. It's a tough scene for the Bills. The Bills suck, but yeah, I mean, today could be. I think both these teams are overrated. So
Don't mess with AP in the chat. I mean, the adult has entered the room, guys.
I will say one thing:
discussing
the
this.
adult was at West Side freaking Story during a 5-game Christmas NBA slate.
Who?
I was watching the show from bed.
What?
It took me 10 minutes to refocus anything. Like West Side Story, AP.
Who was there?
AP went to see West Side freaking Story yesterday for 3 hours.
Why?
Yeah, that's not good.
I was rattled for at least 10 to 15 minutes after he said it. He admitted it too on the show. Like it was a 3-hour West Side Story during that Christmas slate. Oh, oof.
I think West Side Story any day is bad.
Yeah, any day, but yeah.
Is that like a live? Is that a live play type thing?
I don't know what it was, but
Is it a
three.
movie or
I think it was a
live?
movie, but
Yeah. Wow. That's not
Like maybe is it a family tradition?
I mean, it might be.
Oh,
It's a bad
Is this-
family tradition if it is. West Side Story.
not good.
I do like that old song though. I was saying it earlier. Oh, Maria, Maria. What was that? Wasn't that it? She reminds
keep
me
going.
of a
I know
West
what
Side
you're-
Story.
Yeah, I don't think that's from the movie West Side Story.
Oh, I don't
Oh,
think
God.
so either. But the song was better than the movie. Like I'd go to that concert before the movie.
That was with Santana. There was a music
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
I like
Big
that. That was a
Teeth.
good tune.
Yeah.
I'm so conflicted on my Big T take for today because now like he's singing and like man,
I
there's
didn't
like,
exactly sing. Did it sound like a sing?
I mean, it sounds like you're going down the path of singing the song a little bit.
It might just be feeling it.
Well, all right, then I'm back on board. If you're feeling it, yeah.
Okay. Wish we did not discuss that, but there's nothing we can do. I guess the next game is Tampa Bay, Carolina, and hit the like button if you're never going to see West Side Story. I want to see how high we can get on the like button if you're never going to see.
Is it a play or a movie? Like that's what I want to know. Like
I think Steven Spielberg did a remake and it's just not working out. And I never thought
There's literally no scenario. I give everyone in this chat permission to kick me square in the balls.
Yeah.
If I ever say I went to West Side Story for 3 hours on that, everybody's got permission, and it's a
Big
lifetime
T.
contract.
I'd be willing to place a lot of dollars that Big T is not going to. And you know what the good thing about Big T is? He's got his ship ran so tight where there's no repercussions if he doesn't go. Like Big T he runs the ship properly. I'll say that.
Yeah. I mean, they might all go, but I wouldn't go.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But like a lot of times in those situations, there's repercussions on the other end for the man, husband, whatever it is. For Big T doesn't feel the repercussions of situations like that because the ship is ran properly. We can leave it at that.
That was just a bombshell, and I'm going to try and get the show back on track.
It took me 15 minutes, so it took some time, Holden. You'll get through it eventually.
If
like
it
2
hurts.
games down the road, you'll get through it.
Here's things that have shocked me at RPS. Rubio bragging about taking his women on picnics. Horrible idea.
That was a bad one, too.
That
was up there.
You guys not understanding the glory of the zoo for me. That's fine.
The zoo?
I know you guys hate that. I love the zoo. The zoo
is more than it wasn't. No, it was the pumpkin patch. You love pumpkin patches.
This all pales in comparison to this latest scenario we just learned about. And all right, let's try and get back on track, Tony. Please, please. Can we try and talk about the Buccaneers with a whole bunch of dudes missing? And Tom Brady, what's your thoughts on him? Can you go to Rojo this week and actually feel comfortable about it? Antonio Brown's going to go for 7,000 yards. Gronk's probably going to score 8 touchdowns. Ty Johnson, your boy Scotty Miller. So much to love here from the Tampa Bay side. I want to get your thoughts on them. You going to have any shares?
So the good thing is I said I was on all chalk, and then I start to see these games, and maybe Hoop is right. When the heaters come, things just look different. People are going to definitely laugh at me here because I think Carolina is going to beat Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, without all those weapons, Brady looked absolutely horrific last week. I know it was against the Saints, but I just don't see it. Ronald Jones sucks. Gronk sucks when he's the only dude. AB's coming back after a month off. I know people are going to laugh, and there's some mega chalk in this game. I mean, Ronald Jones is so cheap on FanDuel and DK. AB is going to be if I was playing anyone, it would for sure be AB just because he's the only receiver and he's super cheap. But, I mean, I think Carolina hangs around, and I don't like Tampa at all in this spot. DJ Moore going against these Tampa Bay Buck secondary that just keeps getting exposed. I think DJ Moore is an incredible play, completely unowned too. I'm very high. Even Robbie Anderson against this secondary. I think Tampa Bay secondary is awful. I think these guys can pick them apart a little bit. I mean, they're getting what is the spread right now, Holden? They're getting double digits.
10.5.
Yeah, like 10.5. There's no freaking way they should be favored by 10.5 without Godwin, Evans, Lenny, whoever else that I'm not even thinking of on defense and offense. I mean, they're missing all their dudes, and they just got shut out last week. I know they get AB back now, week to practice, but I don't see it at all. I'm glad Tampa Bay's popular. I'm glad everyone thinks it's going to be easy because I'm playing Carolina's D too at 3,300 on FanDuel and the cheapest defense on DK. I'm going all the way down and playing the cheap Ds. I mean, Carolina's cheap D. I love Carolina today.
You love Carolina today. Yeah. I did not.
Outright too. What's the money line? Because I like them outright.
Yeah, I didn't think that I would hear that, but again, I'm not messing with them.
So when I get in a rhythm, Holden, Hoop's right. I start seeing things a little bit, some weird stuff.
I mean, this
Screw
is
Tampa.
Weird. This is weird to me. Like a money line?
Yeah, money line.
What the fuck is going on in this show today? Seriously, we got West Side Story. Tony's taking the freaking Panthers money line.
They're playing freaking Lev Bell. Is he active today?
He's active.
That tells you where their roster's at. Why is a team with Lev Bell?
But Brady's great with Antonio Brown. His numbers are better with Brown.
When Godwin and Evans were out there too.
Boy. Hoop.
I knew people were going to laugh. I'm good. I like when
laughing.
people laugh.
I'm uncomfortable. Like, give me gas. Hoop.
I like that.
I like that. Hoop. Thoughts on Tony's Buccaneers take today?
I don't think it's the worst. Like, you look at Gronk, and man, like he can't be the focal point of a passing offense. Yes, he's had some big games, but that's when Chris Godwin's out there. That's when Leonard Fournette's out there. That's when Mike Evans is out there. should have stepped up last week. Could not. I mean, the team was a full disaster, obviously. I mean, it was a full-on disaster situation. I don't think it's the worst. Like, I could see them struggling here. I mean, Brady's going to have a strong connection with either Tyler Johnson or Scotty Miller for this team to have success today. Can it happen? I don't know. I mean, he seems frustrated with this Tyler Johnson guy every time he's on the field. I mean, maybe a week of practice makes it a little bit better, but the price points where makes it hard for DFS. Like Antonio Brown at 4.9K, it's a bad price tag. Like, it's just not. 4.9 is crazy low. He's 7K on FanDuel. I think you can get away from that a little bit, but the 4.9 on DK is very tough to avoid. Gronk.
It's our pivot, Holden, not to interrupt, Hoop. Kendrick Bourne from Chalky AB.
Oh, hold on. You need Bourne to outscore AB?
They're the same price. Of course you need him to.
Oh, boy. I don't know if that's happening, Tony.
Oh, I knew you'd backpedal. You softy.
No, this is not a backpedal.
What do you mean? You just said that you can't do it.
17.5 points. I think AB is going to smash today. Like, disgusting. Like, go off.
Then
like,
you can't play Kendrick Bourne probably if you think AB is going to crush him.
Yeah, Hoop.
I mean, then Ronald Jones. I mean, the encouraging thing with Ronald Jones is the fact that he did get a couple targets last week. I know it's a desperation situation, but if he has some sort of the same role as Leonard Fournette, again, just too cheap, 5.1 on DK, and he's like 5.5 or something on FanDuel. He's one of these running backs, I think, that are it's tough to avoid these cheap running backs today, and he's one of them. I mean, yes, if the line holds true and the Bucs are, kicking their ass in this game, Jones should have a massive game here. So he's my favorite. Antonio Brown on DK at 4.9. I think that's just, I think you just play him. And then Gronk's the one that I'm least excited about, but I would still have him in my player pool regardless because they just don't have. Jesus. My AirPods keep cutting in and out.
Oh, okay.
He's connecting to the kids' iPad for some reason. But Gronk, multiple touchdown up. The tight end is not a great position. Like, tight end we don't have a spend up. Obviously, Kelsey's out. So I think Gronk is the guy that's still keeping the player pool. I am not as deep as Big T in saying where I think the Panthers are going to win, but I am somewhat nervous with the Bucs today in terms of their ability to move the football, because they're going to need more than just Antonio Brown. Brady needed to find some connection with either Tyler Johnson or Scotty Miller over the course of the last week. It's possible, but I'm not sold on it yet.
All right, let's keep going. We need 600 likes.
I'm so disappointed in you, Holden.
Why?
You said the dude is your play of the day.
He is my play of the day.
And then you said he can't outscore a dude that's the same price. They're the same price.
Antonio Brown's going to go off today. I think.
Yeah, but if it's your play of the day and it's the same price as another dude, how can it be your play of the day?
Because Antonio Brown can't be my play of the day. He's going to be everybody's play of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, disappointment. It's almost like my I don't even know, my aunt, when she's like, I'm so disappointed in you.
I was so happy. Like, you had me just so happy. And now we can't even beat 40% owned AB.
No. AB's getting 22.
I think Bourne's going to outscore him. I'll take your take and ride with it.
Your what?
I'm taking your guy and riding with it. Screw AB.
Bourne to outscore AB. Okay. Yeah. I'm still saying.
I did find a cheap guy as you guys were talking, though. I wonder. Cam Braid at 2,500.
Ooh.
I mean, like, you got Gronk at 6,200 and Braid at 2,500. They're very similar in this game, I think. 2,500 is always what we like at tight end. And 2,500 for Cam Braid when they got all these weapons down. Oh, I love it, too. Yeah, no shot the Panthers win this game. This is when I thrive. No shot. Just everything happens as we think in the NFL. Detroit didn't pound Arizona last week. No shot it happens. No shot.
No shot.
I stepped away, but you were saying you got Bourne over AB today.
I was talking shit to Holden because he backpedaled.
He goes, I'm so disappointed in you. And I said, that's fine. AB is going to outscore Bourne, but
you can't say a dude's a play of the day and then the dude at the same price is going to outscore him. They're the same price.
Why not?
Because it's your play of the day. How can he outscore a dude? He can't outscore the dude at the same price.
My play of the day, Bourne and Brown.
AB might like pull a hammy.
He likes them together, so he's got them both.
Yeah, but then you can't. The roster construction's bad.
The roster construction's bad then?
Yeah.
Well, fuck it. I'm staying with Bourne. I don't care what you say. He's not outscoring AB.
There you go. I like that. Get back in there.
Yeah. I don't give a shit. Hold on a second. I'm actually betting Kendrick Bourne props right now.
What are his props today?
Well, I'm doing a little single game parlay.
16 receiving yards.
It's like
his props 16 yards.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
37.5.
Is that really his yards?
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, that's a freebie.
Yeah.
You better bet that, Hoop.
I'm doing it right now. 34.5 yards, 4+ reception.
34.5 yards is it? Versus Buffalo?
Well, no, I took it down to 34. It was like 37. Yeah.
Why'd you take it down?
There's a reason for that.
Don't ask me my thought process, Tony. I'm a fucking dumbass, but at least I can admit it. All right, we're back.
Hey, this is the one spot you come and you get like credit. You know, me and Big T support Holden's picks.
Yeah, but you don't.
This is
only when he's confident, though.
Now,
he's like
I'm very confident about it. You brought up this like alternative universe where it has to be one guy or the other. You know,
I'm just saying, if I say my play of the day is somebody and there's another dude that's the same price, I'm not gonna say the other dude can outscore him.
All right. I'm not backing off of this. I like Kendrick Bourne and I like Antonio Brown.
I think that's a fair take. I think that's fair.
About 1,000 watching, 426 likes. Let's go. We're sitting here at 426. Hoop said 600. Tony's coming off 6 figures last night. Hoop's been on a roll. I mean, everything's good. We got AP watching West Side Story. How can things not be lining up perfectly for us? I just
can picture my face if Amber, my wife, came and said, "We're going to watch West Side Story during the Celtics box or something." Who even knows my face? I can picture my reaction, what it would look like.
Yeah. I mean, there's out of everyone, there's Big T's the least likely to partake in those sorts of activities. I will guarantee that.
It's just not going to happen. It's quite unfortunate. What if the Pistons and the Magic were playing?
I mean, it really does. I didn't even need to put the game part on it because there's no way I would go, even if it was like maybe if it was like Christmas on a Tuesday and there was like, what if it was Christmas Eve, I guess is the question. No sports that day. And it was like 1 PM. Would I go then if Amber like really begged me? Probably not. No.
I'll answer that question.
It goes from 0% to like 3% though. If she like promised like some extracurriculars or something.
Okay. Extracurriculars.
Do we ever find out, is it a movie or a play? Like I still want to know.
I think it was a movie, but
it's like a live.
Yeah. I get that they do both, but did AP partake in the play or the movie? Like, I'd like to know that.
AP,
he better have been able to, by doing that for 3 hours, he better have reenacted the movie on the bench last night is all I know.
Role play? West Side
there better
Story
have been some role play after 3 hours of the old West Side Story.
Sounds like something Holden's probably done. West Side Story reenactment?
I got no West Side Story reenactment.
All right.
I've never seen it. Is that the jet one where they do this and they go jet is a jet? I don't know.
Wrong person. You got the wrong crew. You got the wrong crew here.
Nobody hates Broadway more than me. I'll see a comedy.
Me.
No, I'll see a comedy though. I
definitely think Holden, you like it more than me and Hoop for sure. You might not like it, but you are definitely more likely than us.
Oh, it is just awful. Like I'll go see a funny one, but anything else,
I'd go see a funny one too. Like if it was a comedy thing of some sort.
Yeah, like the guys from South Park did one.
I don't even mind.
I'd see South Park.
Yeah, I don't even mind like kid stuff, like the plays where the kids are in it. Like I can watch that, but serious like drama type plays might be literally the worst thing on this planet. And the people are so stupid. Like they think they're so cool. The people that are in them, it's like this is like you're. It's just awful. I can't watch that stuff.
Agreed.
You could not pay me to go see a real like live plaything. There's no chance. Like,
Yeah.
no
I
chance.
remember one of my worst childhood memories was when my parents and grandparents dragged me to Annie on Broadway.
Oh,
to this day, I think she's just a filthy bitch, and I'd never go see it again. So
yeah, we're arm in arm on this one.
Well, let's
boys.
go back to something that would be more.
Yeah, this is the momentum. This is the momentum we needed. A topic like this, we're all on the same side. I'm back to my original take. Big T's. I don't even care. Bourne. Yeah, I'm with you guys on who is it? What's the guy's name? Bourne. I'm with you on Bourne. Bourne's getting 20 today. I'm not saying that he's not going to get the Renfro 30 piece. He's going to get 20 today. Big T shipping, Holden shipping. It's going to be a good day. It's just a matter of what Hoop does. You guys are already locked in. I gotta figure out the shit on my end.
Everything's good. Everything's good. Playbook set. Everything's good.
Yes.
All right. There's certain directions that I never feel like the show's going to go. The Broadway angle was one that but we got it out of the way and we never have to discuss it again. So just look at it that way. Then again, let's go to a football game that could be as bad as a Broadway show. Jacksonville and the Jets, guys. I mean, besides for James Robinson, is James Robinson even in your pool, or is he too chalky for you?
No, I mean, I told you, I gave my speech about how I like too much chalk, and the Jets, man. We saw Duke Johnson, which hurt my feelings in the final last week. I mean, Duke Johnson just getting all the work over Haskin last week, just very hurtful, but it also showed the Jets just can't stop any running backs. So I can't fade James Robinson. I mean, 5,900 against the Jets. I'm going to play him. I'll get different somewhere else. And I don't know. I mean, it's a low total. In a Millie Maker format, I wouldn't hate anyone against the Jets. I'm not going to have many of these guys because I don't really need it with some of the other cheap plays. But I don't think anybody playing the Jets is a terrible play, and vice versa. Jacksonville's terrible. Yeah, this game will probably end up just a total shitter with it. Just everybody sucks, and maybe Robinson does good. But it also could shoot out because of how bad both teams are. They're so awful that you can't tell me that people would be shocked if it somehow just started scoring. So everyone's super cheap. I'm not going to have a ton of it besides James Robinson, but in a Millie Maker format, I don't think it's awful to play a little bit of this game with two terrible defenses.
Okay. Just to address the subscriber chat saying that I'm backing off. No. I'm not backing off at all. I don't want to hear it. Dwayne, I am not trolling you with the Bourne call. Fine. He gets 6 today. We bounce back next week. He's not. Yeah, I'm telling you, 17.5 points, Kendrick Bourne. That's my projection for him today.
I got over.
All right. He's got over. Tony thinks he's going for 30. I mean, if that happens, wow.
I'm sending you a Bourne jersey to go with his Renfro jersey.
Good luck finding a Bourne jersey.
I'd rather have just like a Runpure Sports hat or something.
You already got one. You lost it.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I had a backpack full of gear in Denver when you ditched us for lunch. That's unfortunate. You could have the full You could have the full wardrobe, whatever size you needed.
Well, look, I got my shirt on.
Yeah, well, you could add more.
I know. I'm never going to live that down.
Nope.
Did you want to say anything about anything, Hoop? About James Robinson?
No, just that my feelings are still hurt from August when you wouldn't meet us for lunch. Seriously. And Mrs. Hoop, she was there. She's upset. She didn't get to.
Well, like you say, it's a good thing you kept her away from me.
Yeah.
All the time.
I was willing to risk it that day.
Yeah, well, it would have been a horrible idea.
It would have been a horrible idea.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be smart. Do you want to get sucked into the James O'Shaughnessy or any other Braxton Berrios bullshit in this game?
I mean, it's just. You just don't want to play these bad teams. I mean, just so much uncertainty. This Treadwell guy, I think, is okay, but now we have Palmer on DK, so you don't necessarily have to go with Treadwell. Prefer Palmer over Treadwell, but 3.5K with no Chenault, I think he can have some success here. I mean, 3 straight games with, really 4 straight games with at least like 10 fantasy points. So solid. Could easily have success here against the Jets, but overall just don't want to be on the Jaguars and Jets on a full slate.
Good. If you hate West Side Story, give us a like. If you like it, you can do the same thing. But a couple people saying, would you watch Hamilton? I'm like, I have not watched Hamilton. I don't feel like I'm missing anything with Hamilton. Did you see it?
No.
Oh, just it sounds awful. It's like, yeah,
I see that stuff.
Gun duel.
Yeah, right. I'd rather pleasure myself with sandpaper than even think about watching that.
Oh, that sounds awful too.
Yeah,
I mean,
might see Hamilton.
You watched it?
I mean, I might if I had to sandpaper the old dong if I the other way.
I don't know. Hoop might be onto something here.
You'd go sandpaper over Hamilton?
Yeah, because that's how
long do you got to sand it?
You guys like I'll
sand it until finish.
Completion.
I'll take the coarsest one.
You might be down for a while with an injury after the
I'm good.
It'll bounce back.
That's fine. I'm willing to. It's like 5 hours of a horrible play. And
good news.
5 hours? Oh,
yeah.
Just all those Broadway shows are bad.
Yeah. Good news for you guys.
To do drugs?
Who does drugs? Hamilton?
If you go, are you allowed to partake?
Yeah, I mean, I would feel like if you're going to a play and you don't like it, you are allowed a couple things: 7 to 12 edibles, AirPods.
7 to 12
AirPods. You have to be able to listen to something else.
Oh, my boy Junior too. I mean, he's a loyal member here, like always active. He said he took the wife to Hamilton and it's fine. Oh, Junior, why do that to us, man? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
This is horrible.
Oh, that hurts. That's man. But anyhow, good news for you guys. Kendrick Bourne jerseys readily available, even online. So when he goes for 20, I mean, what's the bar? What's the number?
Tony,
like
what
in
does
terms
he
of fantasy points before we get three jerseys next week?
I'd say for sure 20. I mean, like 25 plus. Yeah.
Okay, 20
for a jersey.
If he gets 25, we're all getting Bourne jerseys for the show next week on Runpure.
What about 20? 20, I get a jersey.
I mean, 20, it's not
25.
20 is good, but 20's not.
We need 25. Actually, you know what? I don't want it. I'll buy you. Runpure will buy you guys the jersey. I can't turn on my boy Run.
I'll tell you this much. If Tony's right and Buffalo goes in there and shoves it up Bill's ass, then they're going to be throwing a lot to Kendrick Bourne.
Oh, I love it. It fits what I think perfectly. That's why I'm so happy about it.
All right. Where's
Junior's doubling down too now. He said that he doesn't regret saying, tough scene. Tough scene. Damn.
What?
He's back in the play. He's back in freaking Hamilton or Hamlet, whatever it's called.
No, yeah. And this is, again, he's like, it'll get you 1 to 3 workbench sessions. The kid, it's still not worth it.
I mean, you can get 1 to 3 doing better stuff than that.
Yeah, no shit. Like,
I'll take no bench.
Do the dishes and you'll get 1 to 3 freaking bench sessions. I mean,
we're pro bench here. I'd take no bench for a couple weeks if it I'd seriously take no bench for a couple weeks. Dead serious. Yeah. If it was going to the play or no bench,
how many weeks?
Bench 2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks of no sex.
The ladies are always going to come back though.
Yeah, they come back.
They'll start itching.
Yeah.
All right. One situation. What if you get a hangy during the play?
No.
Not
then
even.
You got to sit in your own. Then you got to sit in your mask.
I wouldn't even. A handy. I don't want to freaking
take a nap.
What are you, middle school?
You won't have to watch the rest. You're already on edibles. You got AirPods and a handy. It sounds like a great day. Hamilton, it is.
Don't leave us on for a handy.
I mean, what else are you going to do? So let's move on to the next game here. I'm sorry. This show's gotten a little out of hand with the West Side Story thing. It has definitely knocked us off track 100%. So let's get the like button. Let's get up to 600 and we'll continue with the games that we need to continue to. And the next one would be Detroit and Atlanta. Hoop. Your Detroit Lions and Craig Reynolds, who has been he's actually a good running back. Have we heard anything on Swift yet? I got to go look for Swift. Would you be interested in Reynolds? Cordero Patterson. I know they said they're going to back the veterans workload off, but he's kind of set up in a nice spot today. I actually like the Falcons, but I don't know if I have the balls to play a Falcons stack in my 5 lineup. So talk to me, Hoop.
Yeah, I mean, tough spot here. Obviously, the Lions, the backup quarterback, not going to play any line, even Swift if he's in. I'm just not doing that. They have this Craig Reynolds guy and stuff now, so I'm fine just being off Swift. On the Falcons side, I mean, Pitts I think is okay. Definitely more of a FanDuel play is 5.9K over there. Cordero Patterson, I'm just not going to play Cordero Patterson. I mean, in tournaments maybe, but it's been 3 weeks where we really haven't seen much from him. Yes, he has like 2-3 touchdown upside. I'm just not going there. This is a game that I'm fine just being off of. Besides Falcons D, good spot for Falcons defense.
All right, Tone Dog, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm with Hoop. We can speed it along a little bit. This game,
Good.
I mean, Pitts, yeah, if you play Pitts, sure, good with it, but nothing else for me.
All right, so AP's back. Thank you, AP, for getting everybody back in line. This is good. I'm happy with it. This is great. That was a shitty game, huh? Chargers, Houston. All right, what could go wrong? Everybody in the world is going to play Justin Jackson today, and it is the greatest matchup in the history of the world, Tony. But is Justin Jackson the chalk we want to eat this afternoon?
I mean, I gave my speech to start the show. I just really struggle not just playing Justin Jackson. Yeah. And I'm not even convinced that I'm not doing it wrong, just always playing these chalk. Like I said, I haven't had the best main slate year. I didn't even do that great last year, main slates. I always play these chalk, and I don't think I get different enough. But I can't fade it. He's 4,200 against Houston. I can't fade it. So I'm going to play him. I know he's going to be popular. I can't get off of it. So I'm going to play him. I don't think it's the worst pivot though, to play Josh Kelly over him. I mean, you never know what could happen. Neither one of these guys has got full workload before. It would have to be a Millie Maker type format. I don't even totally hate it in a big format too, just playing them both at 8,200 and just get all the rushing work. And maybe they pound Houston. They're not going to keep throwing if they're just pounding Houston like I think they could. So I don't know. I can't get off Justin Jackson though. I'm not going to play the passing game. Same speech I gave in other spots. Like I just don't want to play the passing game for 7,200, 7,700 Keenan Allen when I think they're going to kill Houston. I just don't. That's not what I do. That's just not how I build teams. And so it's going to be the running game for me. Just Jackson, Kelly, and that's it, I guess. Is there any cheap? Steven Anderson's 2,500. We always talk about the 2,500 tight end.
Yeah.
I'm always okay with the 2,500 tight end. Steven Anderson, I'm guessing Parham after last week's out, right? Got to be.
Yeah. That's why everybody's on Cook too.
Yeah, I don't like Cook. There's a big difference. 3,500 for Cook. I'd rather play Steven Anderson for 2,500 or even McKinney for 2,500. That 1,000 goes a long way in NFL, and Herbert spreads it around anyways. Cook sucks. I would never use Cook. He's terrible. He's shown no upside all year. Give me one of the 2,500 guys over him. But for me, mainly, I mean, Justin Jackson. What is he going to be owned? I don't. It isn't high enough though. Like he's going to crush.
Like 40%.
Yeah, like that. He should be. I think he should be 100% owned. Like he's going to crush.
Well, it's as good as a matchup as it gets. And Williams is out. Guyton's out. Josh Palmer maybe in the mix here. What do you got, Hoop? What do you like from the Chargers side? And is there anything to like from the Houston side? I mean, Rex Burkhead, give me a break.
Out of all the cheap running backs, Justin Jackson is my favorite. I mean, besides like Madison on FanDuel, where I think it's just a bad price. But Justin Jackson, first off, he looked phenomenal last week. He looked really good running the ball. I think one thing that's going to work to his favor here today as well is Josh Kelly came in. It was a goal line carry in that game, and he fumbled. I think Jackson kind of had a longer run. They took Jackson to the bench, brought in Kelly. I think they might have given him 2 goal line carries, and the second one he fumbled. Early on in this game, you have to imagine Justin Jackson is going to be getting the work at the goal line. Looked really good. It's a good spot in this dome. They're still, down all these pieces. Eckler, Mike Williams are still projected to score 29 points because they're going against the Texans. The part where I will disagree, I think I love Keenan Allen as is, but Herbert's still going to throw the ball. They're not going to just, win this game by running it every freaking play. Like Keenan Allen, I'd try to convince Big T to reverse course on Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen can have a really big game here. 7-7. Yeah, it's up there, but man, like if the Texans show any sort of fight and this stays within 2 touchdowns, Keenan Allen's having a massive game today. Gets goal line looks as well. Jared Cook, though, I'm not going to play him. I would take a shot on some of these cheaper guys. Josh Palmer at 3-3. Chargers could just put up a big number, and they need to win too. They need to come out here with a win, so they're not going to really risk anything. I'm not playing anyone on the Texan side, just like a dead team to me. But all these guys, Justin Jackson, Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, Herbert, I like a ton too here today. I think they're all phenomenal plays on this slate. Okay.
Like button. Hey, Hoop, you said 600. They're struggling. We got a big audience today too. Well over.
That's bullshit. We should, maybe we adjust the number. Maybe we go higher than 6. I mean, there's over 1,000 and we can't get to 600. Like tough times, man. Tough times.
Yeah, not good. Not good at all. Come on, you got to show us a little bit of love here today, guys. 487, gentlemen and ladies. And then there was another guy said, "I'm here for this show." It's like a drunk baby with ADHD. I mean, yeah, it is kind of.
Is that a compliment? It is.
I know it's definitely a compliment. It's a good compliment too. I enjoy it. And then
funny story about that drunk baby / kid real quick yesterday. So for this might just add to the theory of what kind of show this is, but my daughter likes root beer. So we got her a pack of like craft root beer, I guess. So we took a couple of them to the grandparents' house yesterday. Well, my father-in-law he drinks Labatt Blue. So my daughter goes into the fridge and grabs one of her root beers, opens it up and starts drinking it and spits it out all over the place. She's like, "Oh, this tastes awful." Well, she opened the Labatt and instead of the root beer. So kind of funny story there. So that kind of adds to the drunk kid baby theory.
Hey, as Junior said, hit the like for our theater critics. You're right.
Yeah, that's true.
You got 3 of the greatest theater critics up here. It's all shit. By the way, your talk, we just got like 50 likes, Hoop. Your story got us 50 likes.
See, people like my stories. Like the only person that doesn't like my stories is Holden.
That was an amazing story. It was about root beer. Who doesn't love that story? I loved it.
He said, "Who doesn't love that story?"
That was an amazing story. It got, everybody's in
freaking Holden.
That's what
Holden hates. I mean, Holden he's nice. He's friendly to Hoop, but man, does he hate my stories. Like you can just tell. He does not like my stories. And I'm okay. You know what? I'm okay with that too.
Do you give a lot of guilt to your kids? Do you give guilt? You give me a lot of guilt. Guilty for not showing up. Guilty for not liking your stories. Guilty.
The not showing up to lunch thing. I mean, Tony can attest to that.
Hey, you got to let it go, buddy.
The best part was I had to call him last week, and he still didn't have my number saved in his phone. He had no idea it was me still.
I picked up the phone. It's like I just gotten up. He's like, "Hey," I was like, "Who's this?" Who the fuck you think this is? But all right, so I put him in my phone as Big T. Okay.
Wow, you got a spot in there.
In the
finally.
Yeah.
It only took a year and a half.
Brett would like to hear another carpet story. So please, we can either do that or go on to the next game, Hoop.
The only carpet story you're hearing on this show is Holden munching carpet, not installation in Hoop's house. Those stories are not dead.
I did tell you a good story before our cast show, and it was true. My eyes were all puffed up and gross, and I don't know.
You're looking better though today.
Yeah, it's better. It's getting better. It's not there yet. That fucking vaccine, man. Baltimore and Cincinnati. Oh, Joe Burrow's been quietly tearing it up, Hoop. Joe Burrow. I mean, we're looking at passer rating and all that other stuff, and he's sitting there 5'9" on DraftKings, and everybody wants to pair him with Jamar Chase because he killed Baltimore earlier this season. They always look past the T. Higgins. And on the other side, this is the DC special. Just roll out whoever Lamar Jackson's backup is. And today it's Josh Johnson, who I think was in the USFL or the AAF, and he's back in the circle again. Hoop, what are we doing here with Cincinnati and Baltimore? Nothing or something?
Well, a little something. I'm not going to mess with the Ravens side. And the way the slate sets up, you don't need like a cheap quarterback. So I just don't want to be on any. I mean, we have 4 cheap quarterbacks. I'm not going to, well, maybe one I'd consider, but it's not Josh Jack Johnson. So I'm going to be off him. I'll be off the Ravens side altogether. Another low team total, 17. Then on the Bengals, is Joe Mixon like a full go today? I knew it's just weird that he's not like showing up anywhere. Maybe you guys can talk to that a little bit more, but he seems like a very interesting play. I mean, they're at home, they're favored by a touchdown, and Joe Mixon is nowhere to be seen in terms of the projections and opinions on him. So I think Mixon is very interesting in tournaments. You know, a lot of people are going to go cheap at this running back position. We have all the salary. We have a lot of cheap guys at every position that we can play. I think Mixon is interesting in tournaments. And then, Burrow to Chase, I think is fine in tournaments. I mean, the one thing that does concern me here, just seems like these games are always kind of nasty, like a Ravens-Bengals game. The Bengals need to win. Well, the Ravens do too, but they're without their top two quarterbacks. I could just see this being a low-scoring, grinded-out game. So that's why I think my favorite guy would be Mixon, but I don't hate like a Burrow to Chase in some lineups as well.
I think, Tony, when we're looking at Mixon, who brought it up, it's his ankle, but I mean, he's playing. So, and then even Zach Taylor came out earlier this week and said he's feeling pretty good. So if you like Mixon, maybe that's a way to go. But again, I'm trying to figure out if I want to build one more lineup with a Burrow stack. And I'm not sure I'm going to do it or not. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, if we can get some points out of Baltimore, this game's going to shoot out for sure, because Baltimore's not going to stop Cincy. I mean, they have no secondary. They're going for 2 every week because they have no secondary. They can't stop passing games. They're going to have to blitz. I know JSU's talked all season about how Burrow against the blitz just carves them. The stats are crazy too. Burrow's number 1. All the advanced stuff say Burrow's the best quarterback this year. Like, it's above Brady, above Rodgers, above everyone, according to like the advanced numbers. And he's going to crush Baltimore as long as they can just keep pace, which I'm not sure they can. I mean, you got Josh Johnson in there. So if I was playing, I wouldn't hate like playing a Josh Johnson, Mark Andrews, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon stack or something where you get it's just so different. Like that stack right there, I can play all chalk with it, whatever I want to do with it. I can play Cup and freaking all the high-owned dudes. And if this game somehow gets some points going, you got so much upside. And yeah, I'm going to have some of this game. I'm not convinced it can stay close, and it might even play ugly, like Hoop said. If Baltimore is just really bad, then I think it plays ugly, and the Bengals win 27-3 or something. But if they can somehow score some points, this game could win the slate. And that's all we really want in tournaments is a chance. So I'll have some of this game for sure. And T. Higgins has looked incredible. He's 6,200. He just keeps crushing. Baltimore has no freaking secondary. So I like these guys a lot.
Hoop, you want to talk to me a little bit about T. Higgins here? In really Chase and Higgins, your thoughts on like stacking them both? Can they both go off in the same game?
I don't think on the slate I'd be looking to play both of them individually. I would just go with the higher upside guy in Chase. I mean, T. Higgins, I like playing when he was like cheaper. Now the price is up there, although he has had some big games, but it's kind of volatile. I mean, I guess that's good for tournaments, but I definitely just prefer to go up to Chase. There's not that much of a price difference. I would not play both of them in the spot.
Okay.
Together.
I wish I could put T. Higgins numbers against Renfro's numbers and just hear Hoop describe both of them.
I mean, one's like a top 10 wide receiver in football and the other isn't. I mean, Renfro is a legit top 10 wide receiver in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
92 catches.
And Cooper Kupp light. Just remember that.
92 catches, 835 yards, and 4 touchdowns for T. Higgins. Okay. That's pretty good, right, Hoop? That's pretty good.
Solid.
Yeah. Hunter Renfro, 111 catches, 909 yards.
That's more. And that's more. So he's got him beat in every category. Imagine that. And half the season with Waller and Ruggs. And, you know, he's a hero out there.
He's a hero, you say. A true hero.
He was a hero for me that last slate at 60% owned when he busted for everyone.
You knew that game was going to be nasty. And I mean, no one did anything in that game. It was just a gross, grinded out type game. What about 2 weeks ago?
When he was down 38-3 and got 18 dump offs, so he was pretty good that week.
What about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago?
18, 16, 15.
Yeah.
Similar to Cooper
4K, 5K, price tag.
Maybe he'll go down 38-3 again today, and you guys can get another victory lap.
Who are they playing today?
The Broncos, the Raiders and Broncos.
Yeah,
they're going to have a hard time going down 38-3 today.
Possible.
All right. All righty then. Hit the like button. Let's continue here. We only got a few games left. I want to remind everybody, runpuresports.com. You sign up and you'll have just enough time to get in on the premium show. Final countdown up to lock. JSU is our main guy there. JJ from the bet side will stop by. I'll be there. You never know who else is going to show up on that show too. It's a lot of fun. That's the premium show. We got all our cores up. We got the Hoop makes the playbook. So he puts all the best plays up there. Tony, AP, JSU, all three of them share their cores. I'm looking at the core plays today. We got JSU, AP, DC, Tambo, BigT, all up there with the big cores today. And again, you get the Showdown site at the bet side. They're doing well. We're having a great time. 3 afternoon games, 4:00 slate. Okay. And Higgins did miss games, B. Moore. You're right. Higgins did miss some games. He's having a great season. Chicago and Seattle, man, it never snows in Seattle, and it's snowing in Seattle. Like, it's going to be cold. The weather is going to be gross. On one side, you got Nick Foles. I expected a lot of touches for Montgomery, right? David Montgomery. On the other side, you got Russell Wilson, who's just trying to piece together the rest of this season. Hoop. Chicago, Seattle, full fade to outside of the defenses, or can we get cute here in a snowstorm?
I want really not much to do with this game, like at all. The Seahawks just suck. Russell Wilson, I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it's just like he's sick of the situation there because he just looks awful?
I think he's hurt.
I think he's hurt. Yeah, I mean, it'd be curious to see what happens next year, but. I bet he
crushes again when he gets somewhere fresh. Fresh. Like, he needs to change the scenery.
Pete Carroll's just an absolute moron, like just such a donkey. But this game is just gross altogether. I mean, I see David Montgomery just popping up and stuff. Like, I don't want to play David Montgomery. The only guy I'd play here would be Cole Kmet, I think, as a punt, 3.3K, whatever. But it's just Nick Foles at 4K. I just don't think you need the cheap quarterback today. There's so many good value plays at other positions. If I were to play one of the 4K guys, it would probably be him because we've seen in the past he can just come in and do well. But I really don't want to be on this game at all. So it's going to be mostly a fade for me.
What do you think here, Big T?
Yeah, I'm with Hoop. We can speed it along. I'm definitely not playing anyone in this game.
Okay. Denver and the Raiders, any interest there, Tony? I mean, maybe a little Tim Patrick because Locke is in there. Maybe the Raiders defense since Locke is in there. Javonte, Josh Jacobs, Melvin Gordon, maybe some running. Is Fant back in the mix now at Locke up there? Locke's just so bad, but he's going to end up making he's going to have a couple big plays in this game.
This is a pretty big game too because both teams need to win. It's basically an elimination game in a way, I think, at least. I'm sure stuff could happen to where the other team's not out of it, but basically they need to win to have a chance to get in the playoffs at the Raiders. I don't know. I'm happy with the slate today because we got 3 afternoon games. I hate the Seattle game and I hate this game. So I'm not going to play anyone. I look at these prices. I just don't see a reason to play anyone in it. And like you said, with the COVID and everything that happens, I don't need to play these afternoon games. Well, I mean, sure, I can play some. The next game, we'll talk about some pieces, but these 2 crappy 40-point totals, I just don't need pieces from these games. So I'm fading this game too.
Oop.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not playing the Broncos. I haven't played the Broncos like all season except the Javonte Williams week when Gordon was out. But now he's back and it's a split, and we have some really good running back plays today. Haven't played the passing game at all. And then on the Raiders side, yes, I mean, I like Renfro as a wide receiver, but I just don't think at his price this is the week for him. We have some really good spend ups at wide receiver that I want to focus on more than than Renfro. It's a game I don't want to be on. I mean, there's just no pieces that stand out like, man, I got to play this guy. I mean, Josh Jacobs, somewhat interesting, but I prefer the other running backs in his price range over him. The earlier games are just so much more appealing for the most part. So, another game that I'll probably be full fading.
All right, let me roll right back to you then for our last game of the day. We've got no Kelsey, but Tyreek Hill is in. On the Pittsburgh side, Najee actually has a nice little matchup against the Kansas City run D. The Kansas City defense has been much better lately. Let's face it, that's good. Tyreek, Deontay Johnson. I mean, there's a lot to like from the passing game of the Chiefs. And well, actually those two wide receivers, I should say. I wonder if there's anybody else you want to dig up. So you weren't thrilled with the 3 afternoon games, but can you dig something up here? Hoop, and again, I brought this up last week. The Steelers' run defense has been getting absolutely destroyed. Can you trust Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
I think Edwards-Helaire is a really good tournament play today. I mean, this is a game where the Chiefs are favored by 10 here. They should have their way. They're without Kelsey. Could almost see him just kind of leaning on a guy like Edwards-Helaire, who's had some big games here. And what game was that where the Steelers were just giving up? It wasn't like they were giving up like 5 or 6 yards of carry. I mean, whoever it was getting like, yeah, well, there was one, I think it was a primetime game a couple weeks ago. I mean, they were just getting absolutely gashed. Against Dalvin Cook. I mean, just like 15, 20 yards at a time. It was that primetime game where Cook came back from the injury and it was kind of lower owned than everyone, or it was pretty low owned when you consider a spot. He just was getting 20 yards at a time. I mean, holes were opening up that Big T could have hit. I mean, these things were massive. I like Edwards-Helaire today as a tournament option. We have a lot of very popular plays at the running back position. I think Edwards-Helaire is great for tournaments. And then without Kelsey, you have to love Tyreek Hill here. If this game somehow does stay close, I mean, Tyreek could just have a massive, massive game here against the Steelers defense. And then Deontay Johnson's a guy I think you can always play on DraftKings just because he can get you, 13 catches for 100 and some yards. If he scores a touchdown like he did for Tambo in that King of the Beach, he's gone off at that point. So Deontay on DraftKings only in tournaments, but then Edwards-Helaire in tournaments, and then Tyreek Hill I like a ton without Kelsey in there. I mean, look at the other pass catchers here. Big week for Kelsey or for Hill, I think. Big week for Tyreek. All right, what are you doing here, Tony? Let's go. We got anything to dig up?
I think I'm going to fade the Chiefs. I think they roll in this game. I do like Hoop's take, though, that Edwards-Helaire, if I was going to play someone, it would be him because he's in that same price range as the other cheap guys. I just don't like the passing game here. I think the Chiefs smother Pittsburgh. I think they kill Pittsburgh. I think this game is a blowout. I just don't. I know I keep saying it, but if I think a team's going to blow them out, I just don't play. Like, I can't play Tyreek over Cooper Kupp and Jefferson. I just can't. I mean, you could play all three if you wanted to. You could definitely with the running backs the way they are. But I'm playing Kupp and Jefferson over Tyreek, so I have to fade some people. I've narrowed my player pool big time. It's an afternoon game. I don't really love the spot. I think Kansas City rolls. So, yeah, I mean, Edwards-Helaire would be where I'd go in this spot. But I'm going to fade Tyreek, and I'm going to not want to watch the afternoon games as he's out there.
Just completely get away from that.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe I'll go get some food or something during the Chiefs game because I don't want to watch the 80-yard touchdown coming. Hopefully, Kupp and Jefferson both put like 40 up like I think they could. Then I don't have to worry about Tyreek. But
I'm not feeling today.
Yeah, I mean, I like that game.
Jefferson's got his OBJ shirt on, and now he gets to hang out.
Jefferson is going to just crush. Like,
what's his name? Guard him a lot. The cornerback Ramsey.
Yeah. I hope so. Send him over.
Want to know something, Hoop? Last week, DK Metcalf like 5
he burned his ass.
Times, just
burned him.
Smoked Ramsey, and then they couldn't get him the ball.
Russell Wilson threw it to the sky. I know the one play had him just massively beaten. Russell Wilson threw a pop-up. Just multiple terrible pass.
Please give me Ramsey on Jefferson. Just please send him over.
No. I mean, I know people I don't worry about that shit at all, but I know that's a question people would potentially have. It doesn't affect my opinion on Jefferson at all. I think it's a phenomenal play. I think that game could shoot out too.
Okay. So we've gone through this. We've got the inactives coming up here in about 3 minutes. So again, if we're not on here talking about the inactives, you're going to want to be there for the premium show, the final countdown. JSU brings us up to lock with JJ from the bet side dropping by. I'll run the show there. We're at 557 likes. So make sure you get us to 600, 1,100 watching. This is a monster viewership here. You know, usually as the season goes on, people start tapping out, but they're not. They're watching us. Maybe you're still winning, which is kind of
people
nice.
like winners.
Yeah. And plays of the day are going to have to just go premium today. I mean, it's sad. We're at 100.
Premium show? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's going to have to go on Discord. I mean, 1,100 people watching, and we've had to ask to get to 600 like 4 different times. I think we just.
Why don't you give them 2 minutes? I'm going to set the clock.
Well, if not, of course they're going to get there.
Well, let's see if they do or not. I don't know if they will.
Tony, kind of hurtful.
Yeah, I mean, if they get there by 11:30, we can do it, but I don't know if they can do it. I don't know if they're going to get there.
Oh, they're going to get to 6. I say we bump it now because it's insulting. I say we go to 7.
I don't know if they're going to get to 6. Hoop, but you got a better.
I think
feel.
we'll probably get to 6, but I mean, we're definitely not getting to 7. We can maybe get to. We should like take a wager what we can get to. I mean, we might be able to get to 7. I think the chat. I mean, if they can get us to 700 in 2 minutes, that just means people haven't clicked the like button. But yeah, I mean, maybe I get
to 7. Just get to 7. Just get to 7.
Well,
and
if not, you're stuck
hurtful.
with my play, the boats and hose or whatever.
That's the winner, though. That's the one.
The only way that's the only one you're getting today, people. So we're almost to 600. You got like
cruise by 6.
800 likes, Alex.
Yeah.
We get to 800.
Just get to 7.
I think we might get to 7. There's a lot of likes being clicked.
They got 45
It's an impressive
seconds.
late run here.
They got 45 seconds.
Yeah, the people want it.
Who else?
I like this.
Yeah, you like putting
Going up in a hurry. It's building the mojo here.
It's gonna be a good day. Like I said, I've known Big T. We've been doing this for about 8 years. This show, and well, not this show for 8 years, but we've been working together for 8 years. I've been able to predict the Big T heaters, and like I said, Big T is shipping in a big way today. Mark my word, it's going to happen
with Kendrick Bourne.
I don't care who you put in your lineup. If it's Bourne, that's fine. I'm not endorsing the Bourne play, but whoever you're going to ship today, I feel it's going to be. It's not going to be like a little. I mean, little one for Big T, like 100K. It's going to be a bigger. It's
bigger than 100. I like that.
$300,000 day for Big T. Mark my word.
Whoa, that's like $500,000 in 24 hours. That'd be really good, Tony.
It's gonna happen.
I'm on board for that.
Are you?
I want 2 tickets to Hamilton if you win.
Yeah,
if I win 300K, I'll fly you to watch Hamilton somewhere.
All right. Well, I'm going to sell those tickets.
Oh, you can't sell.
Yeah, and then I'm going to go play in DK with them. It'll be great. All right. You didn't get to 700. You got 622. Hoop, you're not giving.
We're way above 622. We're at like 6. We're getting close.
Hoop. Yeah. Do you want to give your play or not? Because we haven't gotten to 7. But let's make up our mind.
We'll give the play. I can't.
All right, Tony, you'll give.
I'm all talk.
They're going to be 700 by the time we get to it, anyways. Here.
Ooh, Derwin James is active. That's kind of big for the Chargers defense, even though they're playing the Texans. Okay, what do you got then, Hoop? Your rich parents play of the day person.
I'm going Edwards-Helaire. I mean, there's going to be a lot of cheap running back plays, a lot of ownership in Justin Jackson, who I do like. Madison, I do like. I mean, I like the cheap running back plays, but man, this just seems like a spot where the Chiefs can get the lead. And they're willing to win these games differently. In the past, they get a lead against the Steelers. They're going to keep passing. They're going to try to get 40. Like, they'll win these games and just kind of burn out the clock now. They're fine with it because their defense is playing so well. I think we could see like 120 and 2 touchdowns for Edwards-Helaire with some passes mixed in. So in tournaments, I love Edwards-Helaire. So he's going to be the rich parents play of the day.
Love it. DeAndre Swift is officially out. So Craig Reynolds season, if you really want to get crazy and try and go
Falcons defense season.
Huh?
Falcons defense season.
Oh boy. That's like the immovable object against the unstoppable force, which is kind of like the opposite of this, but still that could be ugly. Tony, workbench. Who is going on the workbench today?
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna give 2 today. I'm gonna give the safe one that I think is the best play of the slate, and then I'm gonna just give a Millie Maker workbench play too that I probably won't have on my main team. The only reason I'm doing it is because my one guy that I'm going to give is going to be somewhat chalky. And I hate that. I want to give a low-owned guy too. But the top guy for sure is Justin Jefferson. I think he's going to go completely off, 40-plus fantasy points, totally nuke the slate. Love him. So I got to give him as my workbench play of the day. I'd be letting the people down if I didn't give that. Sign me up for that. My low-owned play, though, is going to be the pivot off of our boy. Hold on one second. Let me find his price real quick so I can do it properly.
Just while you're doing that, let me just throw out Adam Thielen officially active, DeAndre Swift officially out, Damian Harris active, Nelson Aguilar out.
Oh, that's good for Bourne.
Huh?
That's good for Bourne.
Yeah, very good for Bourne.
Yeah.
I was under the assumption he was going to be out, which is great. And then David Johnson's out for the 0.3% of you that play Rex Burkhead. So I guess that's good news for you. All right, what do you got, Tony?
So Justin Jackson, best play of the slate, 50% owned plus. Pivot in Millie Maker formats. 2, Josh Kelly, 4K. Going to be totally unowned. No one for sure knows what this workload is going to look like between these guys. I agree, Justin Jackson. Incredible play today. He's going to be high owned. I think he gets the work. Everyone thinks he gets the work. But when he somehow doesn't get the work or gets injured or fumbles or who knows what happens in football games, and you get 1% owned Josh Kelly in the same spot compared to 50% owned Justin Jackson, that's leverage. That's what the workbench play was built on. Sign me up, Josh Kelly. Workbench play of the day in the Millie Maker.
I like it. I just want to let you know, if you're not playing James Robinson, there's just some good chalk to eat. Now Quinnen Williams is out. So as if the Jets weren't already completely screwed against
the Jets
this dude.
are so bad.
Well, this just get like, that's all the worst defense out there. Just lost their best player.
Yeah.
On top of everything.
I don't know how you don't play James Robinson and Justin Jackson. Like, I have a really hard time getting off those two guys. Like, really hard.
Hoop, any thoughts there real quick before we get out of here?
Yeah, James on BK. I mean, on FanDuel, they did a good job with James Robinson. Up to 8-2,
I like it even more though. Don't you?
He's gonna be lower owned. I think a phenomenal. I mean,
and you can afford anyone, right? On FanDuel, you can
get anyone to pick them, so you can get whoever the hell you want. Everyone's going to play the cheap guys. I mean, going up to a guy like Robinson, I think it's just a really sharp move. So yeah.
We got 683, not bad. 683. Didn't get to the 7. We got 683. I'll take it, Hoop. I'm impressed. You know, you threw the number up there. It was crazy. Then the guys and ladies are coming in strong at the end.
Yeah, we live momentum today. I mean, last show of the year. I mean, I guess before we sign off, thanks to everyone that's tuned into the show all season. I mean, it's growing, in a big way all season long, and I think it's going to hit a climax this afternoon when RPS and our whole team gets to the top of the leaderboard. I mean, I'm feeling real good about it, and like I said, it's gonna be a big day. So thanks to everyone that tunes in to the show. We're going to keep improving, making it better. But thank you.
What do you mean we're going to make it better? How does it get better, Hoop?
Well, we haven't find a better host, of course, right?
I was hoping you weren't going to say that, but I mean, it is the last show of the year, and it could be the last show for me too.
Yeah, right. Me and Big T hand selected Holden to host this show. We had conversations after last season. We said, hey, we want Holden to host. It's a good fit, and it's worked out well.
Yeah, and then he went through 16 weeks with me, and now he's already pushing me out. But I don't blame him. It's sometimes you got to do the right move.
You're just freaking out of here, Simon. Holden's killing me.